Hello everybody and welcome back to the Games Done Quick Hotfix. This is How to Train a Speedrunner, where we showcase beginner-friendly tutorials to try and help show you that it's easy to get into speedrunning. Before we get into the show though, just a few quick reminders. GDQX will be live from TwitchCon October 20th, 22nd. The event will take place on the Games Done Quick stage as well as streamed live on our Twitch channel. You can use exclamation GDQX in Twitch chat to find out more information and check out the schedule there. Also, Awesome Games Done Quick 2024 will be live in person January 14th through 21st in Pittsburgh, PA. You can use exclamation AGDQ in Twitch chat for more information. Also, you can go to @gamesdonequick.com on Twitter to let us know what you're hoping to see on the games list, or you can go to gamesdonequick.com for more information about the event. With all that said, we have Neopets, the Darkest Faeries. We're going to be learning all bosses. I'll hand it over to the runner to let him introduce himself and the game.
Hey, what's up everyone? This is Jaxler, and this is Neopets, the Darkest Faerie, the greatest Zelda game on the PS2. So I've had the privilege of getting to show this game a couple of times on GDQ Hotfix, and I'm going to be showing people how to do the all bosses category. I'm actually really excited to show this off because this, some of these strats and knowledge isn't super well documented right now, so kind of convenient for me. So I get to do it all at once. I just want to say this as a disclaimer. Any percent, pretty easy, straightforward category for the most part to learn. All bosses is a bit harder. It's kind of like an intermediate sort of run, right? So my brain, in my conscience wants me to tell you to try running any percent first, and I do have a series of videos on YouTube that go over the basic any percent route. So this is going to be a little bit different because this is all bosses. So if you've seen an any percent speedrun of this game before, it's going to look a little bit different right at the start. And to note as well, once we hop into the game, I'm going to have a couple of things that you wouldn't normally see in a speedrun setting. For one, I have an input display over here where my hand is. I am playing on console, but I've got one of those retro spy sort of things going on. It'll show my inputs in real time, so hopefully that's a helpful utility. On top of that, I'm also using the speedrun practice tools for this game. I have a video on my YouTube that describes how to install those and run them on real hardware. But I'm going to be showing you some of the useful tools that are helpful when picking up this route. But by no means is it a necessity to get that started. All you really need is a controller and a copy of the game and a console to run it on. You should be good. All right, with that being said, I will I'm going to start the timer and hop into a new game here. We just start from a new file. That's when time starts for these runs. So we'll just go ahead and start in 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, so if you've never seen this game before, it's a 3D action-adventure game. I made the Zelda joke because it's kind of pertinent, but it's sort of this open-world 3D action-adventure. It's really fun. There's a lot of emphasis on exploration. And in the any percent run, we just absolutely bust this game open. We will win all bosses as well, but we've got our main character here at the start, Tor. He's pretty goofy looking. Right at the start of the game, we're going to be sort of facing this pen. Normally, if we were playing any percent, we'd go run up that hill over to our left. But instead, what we're going to do for all bosses is we're actually going to turn around, making sure that we're holding the R1 button to run. And we're going to go the opposite direction through this cornfield. Now, inside of here is a secret area with a treasure chest that's guaranteed to give us money. And we need a minimum amount of money to draw from this chest. There's a little bit of randomness to how much this will give us. And so if you see 3 money bags, that is a guarantee that you got the money that you need. So you'll see I have 200 here. You need at least 150 Neo points from that chest in order to continue on. There is another backup chest somewhere else in the farm, but just in my personal opinion, it's so early on into the run that if you get the 10% chance of a low roll, I would just reset. But you're gonna grab that chest and immediately climb back out. Then you're gonna turn around, and now we're gonna head back towards the house. I like to sort of go around sort of the fruit trees back here and around the left side. It's just a little less cumbersome. And then we're gonna go up this hill here. And so if you saw the GDQ run of this game before, or any kind of any percent speedrun, you'll know what's coming here. We're gonna be going out of bounds with a ledge grab that looks something like that. And so this is actually pretty straightforward. So what I'm looking for here is if you look at the floor, the dirt, you can kind of see how there's this flat plane up here and then the kind of the hill, and you can kind of see the seam where the two bits of collision meet. And so our goal is to jump. So if we're on this slope, we're lower than if we are on top on this plane right here, right? So our goal is to achieve liftoff right here, right at the edge of those two while we're at the highest point. And we're doing this with a run jump so we have more speed. And then we're guiding toward into the wall. So the way that I line this up is I get to the top of the hill, which is kind of where that seam is. I can hold down L2 and turn the camera to pivot to one place. And so what I'm kind of looking to do is line up towards like right ear with sort of the edge of the cliff. You see how it just, the cliff kind of cuts off and the tip of towards ear is lined up with that? That's what I'm looking at right now. And so what I do is I back up a little bit, I get a running start, and as soon as like I hit the sort of grassy edge here, I jump and I hold X so that I get maximum height, and I start holding up and to the left, and it'll look like this. Just like that. And that should get you a ledge grab up here. I'll show you that one more time. So you see right there, I didn't hold up left at all, so I just kind of slide. So what you want to do is line it up, jump, top of your arc, start holding up and left, and you should grab up here, okay? So there's going to be like this big tree right in front of you. If you do it right, you're going to want to go to the right of it because there's a big hitbox right there. And there's that big rock wall over there. What you're going to want to do is hold down L2 and start running forward. Okay? Whenever you're holding down L2 in this game and you run off something, it will allow you to keep running mid-air. And that's like super important for a lot of strats in this category. So what I've done here is I've gotten to the ends of the earth. Whenever you're far enough out of bounds in this game, I'll actually show you using the practice tool, showing coordinates. We are at y equals 0. And when we're at y equals 0, which is that green value, that like .00, there's just an infinite floor at y equals 0, right? So we can, for the most part, kind of move around freely here. But you got to be careful because if you accidentally hit a loading trigger, it can teleport you somewhere where you don't want to go. So what I do here is you'll see this like dark forest texture and this really big tree trunk with a wide base. I point toward so that he'll like, if he keeps going forward, he'll run through it. And I just hold forward and a little bit up left, like that. And so eventually, if your angle is correct and you're far enough to the left, you will actually completely deload Farm Road. So if I look to the left over here, there's just this massive gap, which is where you're supposed to go after the tutorial. So this whole sequence is essentially skipping the whole tutorial, which saves several minutes. Now, obviously, you want to keep running here when you're doing a speedrun, but I'm going to stop here for a second to tell you about something called upwarping. So I mentioned how you have to be careful because if something loads in, bad things happen. So if you're on this invisible floor and something is above you that the game considers inbounds, it will teleport you on top of it and snap you up on it instantly, and that's called an upwarp. And we're actually going to do that in order to get inbounds. So we just sort of keep going in a straight direction, and as you'll start to see, there's actually a couple of like tree leaves that are poking out of the brown wall over there on top of a green grassy plain. That's what we're aiming for. So just kind of follow the way that I'm headed. I'm sort of looking up at this sort of middle green grassy platform, the lowest one. And if I keep holding forward, I eventually upwarp right up here, and you'll see these 3 trees right here if you did it right. So once I'm up here and I see these 3 trees, what I want to do is I want to head to the left and kind of hold a little bit towards this invisible wall so that I go around it, and then you just phase right through, okay? And then you'll come to this big sloping section right here. You see those flowers that are clipping through the wall right there? That's where we're headed next. So we're going to head down the hill, and then you just jump through the wall, and you're in bounds just like that. And now we're out of there. So this will look a bit different from the any percent route, and that's because we're actually going to be doing things slightly differently for the all bosses category. So what I do is I head to the right and fall down the cliff from where we came, and we're going to head into Bandit's Cave. We're actually going to grab the Golden Rose and turn it in for a side quest reward of 350 Neopets, and that'll be important for later. So what I do is I head into the cave, and then as I'm heading into the cave, I take, I believe, the first left. I kind of just have this memorized. So As I come through here, I take the first left. There should be a treasure chest right there. That's the one we want, so just press square to open it. Now, it's highly likely that these enemies are going to try to bother you, so as soon as you start moving, I'd recommend pressing X to jump, just in case, so that if they damage you midair, you can get a little boost like that and not lose as much time. So we're going to head back the way that we came, and we're going to go basically climb our way back and go deliver the rose to the side quest giver. So that's where we're heading next. And as I'm making my way back there, since we are recording this live, if anybody in the chat has any like questions, or if I'm going through something too fast, please feel free to let me know. I know I talk really fast. It's one of my many character flaws. But we're just gonna go ahead and talk to Prince Torin here. We're just gonna mash the square button. I like to hold X here too. It kind of allows you to mash a little bit faster. And then we're gonna cross the bridge. So what I like to do here is jump, so you don't get slowed down by the tightrope walking segment. And you fall down here next to Froggy. Hi, Froggy. And then you're gonna jump to the ladder over here. Now the fastest way to go up ladders is to just jump up them. That's what you're gonna do right here. Take a right, and then we're gonna make our way to Meridel. So, doing pretty good so far, nothing crazy. Something I like to do on the way here is, and this is just like, you don't have to learn how to do this right away, but if you practice, you can actually move Tor around and leave your index finger open to use the D-pad. So I use that to actually menu in advance to this leaf mode, which is so this slot right here. So it's from like a default console boot, it's one down, one left. And we'll just leave it there for now. And so we need this leaf mode. So what I'm gonna do is jump into it. That'll skip a text box where every time you get a new collectible for the first time, it'll like describe to you what it is. And well, we already know what it is because hopefully we've played the game before, right? So, all right, before we head into Meridel, we're gonna be setting up a nice little time saver and cutscene mash saver called the text box glitch. It's really easy to perform, but it's really easy to forget that you're doing it. So just make sure that you pay attention. All you need to do is hit up on the D-pad, hold square, and walk into the cutscene. And then you're gonna keep holding square the entire cutscene. And so what this does is it's gonna cause all the text boxes that these two thieves are gonna pull up, it'll cause them to all be instantly skipped frame after frame, and it looks really sick. So while I'm here and while we're watching this cutscene, somebody asked me a very good question, which is, obviously I'm doing this on console. Is this possible on things like quote unquote Steam Deck? And what I will say is all but like one setup in the world record route is possible on emulator. So, I said the thing I wasn't supposed to say. Anyway, we played these games legit. All right. So anyway, panicking. We're gonna chase down the thief here, and we need to do this so that we can open up the arena and all the shops. You'll notice that earlier I got that 350 Neo Point reward from the Prince. That puts me at a little over 500 Neo Points. Because we skipped the sword that we get from our dad at the very start of the game, we don't have a weapon, and that's really bad. So we actually used the money that we collected to buy our first weapon. So we're going to chase the thieves down. You can do the nice little skip over the gate. And then we get the dramatic stinger. And we're just going to mash the X button to... Unfortunately, we have to skip the full motion video cutscene. And then we're going to immediately turn around, hold L2 so that we cancel auto jumping. So if I jump... So we want to jump into the moat, right? Just to give you an example, if I'm not holding down L2 and I just hold the run button, see how Tor jumps like that? It's a little slow, right? So if you hold down L2... and you fall in, he just falls in immediately. So that's what I was talking about with holding down the L2 button in order to make some of our movement faster. And so now we're just sort of follow the way I'm going. We're going to be heading to the sword shop. If you look on the map, that icon with the sword, that's the building we're heading to next. So you can take a couple little shortcuts through the park. No big deal. Got the guy with the bowl cut today. He doesn't usually like to spawn in. All right, so we're gonna go in here, mash square, and then we're gonna buy this sword right off his table. And then what I do here is I hit, because I set up the moat menu earlier, all I need to do here is hit down on the D-pad, circle, and then triangle to cancel. And I have the moat equipped on my sword. The moats are elemental, like consumable buffs to your weapons and gear. And so we put it on our sword because we're about to go do the arena. And this will give us a slight damage boost. And so from the sword shop, I go down the road to the left, and then I cut to the right of this house. We're gonna go fall in the moat again, because the moat will always respawn you in a default position. And so we're gonna fall in here, and this is gonna put us right in front of here. And then so we're gonna go walk to this arena. And as we do that, we're gonna hit up on the D-pad, hold square, and then go talk to Shanra. And so what this will do is it'll instantly skip all of our dialogue for us. This is something that we can do all throughout the course of the run. So from now on, I'm just going to point out spots where you can continue to perform it. But let's press square to talk to Shanra, circle to confirm, and then mash through the rest of these square prompts. And then we're going to be fighting the first enemy here, which is a thief. All I'm going to be doing here is the 3-hit combo attack. If you played this game casually, or if you learned the any percent speedrun, you'll hopefully know how to do a 3-hit combo. I'm just going to kind of assume that you know how to do that if you've played the game, if that's cool. So I'm just going to run up to him and give him the 1, 2, 3. He's going to attack me. 1, 2, 3. He's going to attack me. 1, 2, 3. And then you can set up the cutscene skip or the text skip glitch after you defeat this enemy and the one we're going to do after. So after you get into this loading zone, let go of square. Because if you skip the text boxes too fast, you can actually prevent yourself from getting the reward, and that's like run over. So you get the shield from that first fight, and then we're going to get 500 Neo points from the second fight. But more importantly, it'll set up a very important glitch. So for this one, we get to do something really cool called shield canceling. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause real quick at the start of this fight and then explain what I'm going to be doing. So what I'm going to be doing is the 3-hit sword combo. But at the end of my 3-hit sword combo, I'm going to hold down I'm not pressing any buttons right now just because I'm in a menu. But 3-hit combo, then after the third hit, I start holding down L1 to shield. What this will do is it'll cancel the follow-through animation on that last attack and allow me to start up another 3-hit combo. And if you do it quickly enough, it allows you to stun lock a lot of enemies. So here's an example of me doing it, just because I have to kind of do it quickly to get it to work. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, L1, and then you just have one extra hit if you nail everything perfectly. All right, and then once again, don't hold square. Just talk to Shanra, get your prize, and then we're good to go. So that gets us 500 Neo points, right? But more importantly, this sets up for a very critical glitch, and I will try to explain it as we head down the road. But essentially what we're going to be doing is on the map, we're going to be sort of going clockwise around town, and then I'll show you where we're going to pull off the road to go do a cool glitch. Right? Okay, so from here, go to the left, follow the road, okay? So, essentially, that text box at the end of talking to Shanra is what gave us 500 Neo points, and that is stored in the game's memory at the moment. And if we do a specific series of inputs, we can actually trick the game into not overwriting all of that text box that's still stored in the memory, and actually re-access the quest reward over and over and over again. And so what we're going to do is we're going to see this red house with these blue banners out front, and we're going to see this sign right here. So we're right in front of the deliver package icon, right? All you need to do is press X, so you're going to jump, and then you're going to continue holding X. And then you're going to talk to the sign, and magically, you will get 500 Neo points just like that. I'm not joking. So what we're going to do here is we're going to repeat this process of talk to the sign, let the text box fully read out, and then quit out. And we're going to do that until we have 41,000 Neo points. Okay? So we did 500 there. So we're going to get to 40,500. And so we're going to do a lot of duping here. But as you can see, once you get it set up, really straightforward. Make sure that on your way here, do not talk to anybody. If you talk to anybody, it can screw up the glitch. So if you're having issues with it, that might be why. So we're just going to be sitting here for a little bit. I can't really look away. So Church, I don't know if you had any more questions in the chat or if you had any questions.
Let me just double check. I don't. I feel like this is pretty straightforward for me. I do have the benefit of having watched you run this a few times, so maybe that's just me having a little bit of knowledge of the game.
Sure.
Does the infinite Neopoint glitch work on any enemy?
It is specifically, so it requires specific setups because it is based on like a lot of really kind of weird and complicated fraction math with sizes of text boxes. So it requires a specific quest reward dialogue and a specific piece of dialogue to read to get it to work properly, right? So in this example, we use the arena quest reward and this sign. In any percent, we use a different side quest reward from the potion shop guy, and then we use a guard's text box, right? So it depends on the setup. And the reason that we do this setup versus the other one in any percent is because this category is so much longer than any percent that we need to dupe way more money. And so because of that, in this setup, every time you open one text box, you get 500 Neo points. But in the other setup, you get 500 Neo points every 3 text boxes, right? So,
yeah.
But that version with the 3 text boxes, a lot faster to get set up. So because of that, depending on the category, one setup can be faster than the other. In all bosses, we do this setup because we just need a boatload of cash, right? So there's kind of some math and routing that goes along with it. This is also the setup I just generally tend to teach new any percent runners because it tends to be a bit easier to set up as well. The out of bounds is a bit easier, right? And so as you'll notice, I have like 41,550 Neopets in the bottom, Neopoints in the bottom left corner. If I had that many Neopets, that would be a problem. But from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go run back into the moat. We're going to be doing that a fair bit in this segment. And so we're going to go spend a good chunk of this cash immediately. Okay, so from the arena, we're going to take a right and head down the road. And we're going to stock up on a bunch of consumables. And very critically, and I'll mention this again before we do all the purchasing, we want to make sure we save 11,000 left over because we're going to be doing some purchases later on. So this is the potion shop vendor. This is the guy that you perform the dupe glitch off of, or you set up the dupe glitch off of in 80%. His name's Angus. Fun fact. All right, so we're going to buy a potion of power, and then we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to have 8 total potions of power. And then we're going to buy potions of Miracle Speed. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off the coordinates for the time being. Just so you can see how much money we're spending here, because I forgot that those get in the way. And we're going to buy these green potions here, and we're going to mash square. I usually mash until I see 15k, and then I take it slow from there. Okay, there we go. So you see how I have 11,350? That's 54 potions of Miracle Speed. And so now, when you press the triangle button, you go very fast. And so the reason we dupe that much money is we have more ground to cover, so we need more speed potions in order to cover that ground. And we also need this extra 11,000 for 2 other things later on in the route. All right? So out the door, you're going to go, basically facing this way, you're going to go to the right. So you're going to head towards the old loop dude and just kind of keep running past him. And we're going to follow the road until we see sort of a hill slope to the left, kind of past this house and these rocks. We're going to go to the right side of the rocks and then roll around. And then we're going to make our way into Draken Ridge here. So now we're actually going to make our way to our first boss. So the thing with this category is that there's a couple of bosses that you fight more than once. In the rules of all bosses, you only have to fight one version of each boss, right? So one visit of each boss is required. And so we're going to visit as our first boss, the Act 3 version of Ixie Chieftain, okay? So first thing I'm going to have you do is fall into the water while holding L2. And so what this is going to do is every time that you do this, it's going to set you in a default spawn position for this trick, okay? I'm going to show you what the trick looks like first, and then I'm going to describe it in steps how to pull this off. Oh, this is not going to work. Hold on a second. Sometimes Tor is a little funky. There we go. So that's what the trick looks like, okay? So the goal of this trick is to basically clip Tor through the part of the river that will make him drown like that. And so the way that I set this up is as soon as I have fallen into the water, what I do is if my sword's not already equipped, I do a jump attack in place to make sure that it's equipped. Then I hold down L2 for the combat strafe. And if I turn the camera to the right, Tor will stay in place while turning just like that. It's really nice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of position Tor so that there's this big wall to the left, right? And there's this point where it kind of it kind of curves up the hill and then it just stops and it turns into that big part of the wall right there, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but essentially what I'm doing is I'm pointing the center of Tor's head, like the little bit tuft of fur on the top of his head, towards that little line. So you can kind of see it between his ears, that little line on the rock wall. That's where I line up Tor. And then what I do is I let go of L2 so that I can auto jump. And then I hold down the run button and I'm going to run straight forward. I'm going to count 1,000 and then press select. So 1,000, select. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press triangle and then I'm holding select the moment I press triangle. And what that'll do is this. It'll pause buffer me exactly 1 frame. So what we can do is we can repeat this process multiple times, right? So let me get my lineup again. I'm actually going to, instead of doing middle of the head, I'm going to do right ear is lined up with that weird kind of part of the rock wall. So we're going to go, I'm going to wait a little bit more. So 1,000, stop. And then we pause buffer. This might still be too low. Okay. And so once we're at this point, what I'm looking for, so it says hack menu right now because I'm using the practice tools, but it would say resume game if you were playing without the practice tool on, and the characters are the same height. So what I look for is this leftmost character on this word is sort of lined up at the water's edge of that dirt mound in the back. And so once I have it lined up, I press triangle, hold circle. So I accidentally over buffered an extra frame, so I beefed my own setup. Well, not my setup, but monster setup. 1,000. Pause. You want to make sure that you wait to pause until you see the camera start to move downwards to catch up with Tor. Okay? Make sure that you're holding forward this entire time. Every pause buffer you do, hold forward. Triangle, hold, select. Triangle, hold, select. Triangle, hold, select. One more buffer. You see how the H in hack menu is lined up in the middle so the water's edge slices through the middle of it? We're going to press triangle, hold circle. Boom, just like that. Let me give you one more good setup of that. So turn the camera, face Tor roughly this way. 1,000. Wait for the... I went a little too early. Let's see if we can get this. But the more you practice this pause buffering stuff, the faster you can do it. Yeah, I waited a little bit. I waited not long enough, so... Yeah, so as soon as you see that little camera turn, you know you're good. Boom. Just like that. So if you're in a situation where I just was, where, let's say, for example, you're doing the strat, and you just so happen to pause buffer that it actually gives you the visual cue immediately, you don't have to pause buffer anymore. You're good to go. But if you accidentally, just by muscle memory do, for this setup, if you see this setup, I believe if you pause buffer one extra time, it should still work. For just this setup, there's an extra frame that works. Don't know why, but don't panic if you see that happen, okay? All right, so let's say we're stuck in the water right here, right? What we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of head towards this rock that's in the middle. We're gonna pop a potion, and we're gonna start moving. And then eventually we get to the water's edge and we can't move any further. So I'm gonna go to the left until I can't move anymore, and then I'm gonna jump and hold right. And then as I start to turn, I hold forward, and then I run out to about here, okay? So we're gonna take this pretty wide, so that's where we came from. We see these water planes over here, and we're gonna kind of run towards them, okay? And over here, what I'm kind of looking for is that castle in the distance, okay? Once I see that, we're good to go. So what I'm looking for is, you'll start to see it as we get a bit closer. As we go this way, you're gonna start to notice these rocks start to spawn in, like underneath the water, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to run. I'm gonna hold L2. No, you just do it running forward, right? So I'm gonna run forward until that rock that's like right there, I'm gonna use the tip of my sword to point at it, that one. Once I see that like go off the top of the screen, while I have the potion of miracle speed going, once I see that rock go off the top of the screen, I'm gonna change from holding forward to holding to the right for about 2 seconds. 1,000, 2, 1,000. And so what you'll notice is if you keep moving a little bit, all of this junk is loaded in, and you'll see that canyon over there. That means you did it right, okay? If you get like any sort of weird other thing, might have some weird stuff happen in a moment, okay? You gotta be really specific with hitting loading planes in this game because they have knock-on effects, right? So now there's kind of like this bucket-shaped rock thing over here. We want to go around the right side of that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start heading towards it. And then as we approach it, we can start curving around it. And so what I like to do is I like to point my right stick to the bottom and right so that I can look up as I'm turning around this rock to make sure I'm not too close to it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to keep running until we see this camera flip. Then we're going to change directions very quickly. And if you go fast enough, you'll land inside this wall right here. Now, I was a little slow because I was trying to talk through it. This is a good point to mention. Backup saves, okay? So I'm going to have to reset this backup save. So this is going to be like a callback episode to when I did like the full run. But essentially what we're doing is we're going fast enough to put ourselves through that wall before the PS2 has time to load everything in. So let me check what my situation is. Okay, so this is one of the really nice things about the practice tools is I can just give myself a couple extra potions of power. And then we'll give ourselves some potions of Mirka speed. We'll say 42. That's a little extra, but you know what? Cool. So one of the things I like to do as well, one of the really nice benefits of the practice tools is they allow you to save anywhere. So what I like to do a lot in practice is I use the practice tools to make a save here so that I can just do a jump slash, fall into the water, and immediately start practicing this thing because it can be a bit tricky, right? So let me show you what this looks like at a little bit higher of speed because that last little bit is time sensitive because I'm finding the PS2 hardware. I was one buffer extra, but sometimes like the first time you go for this after a fresh load is a little bit funky and I have no idea why. But there we go. So we head this way, head to the left until we can't move, jump to the right, start holding forward. We're out of there. And so I'm going to start turning my camera until I see the tower back of there, way in the distance up there. We're going to start running towards the rocks. So once that rock goes over the top, 1,000. Oh, yeah, see, I was a little late there. So this will cause problems. I'm gonna do this as an exercise to show you what happens if you get that little blip. So you can kind of continue as normal for a bit here, but this will cause some shenanigans. I'll just put it lightly. So this is actually kind of a good learning opportunity because I'm showing you like all the ways this can go wrong. So if you're late on that movement to the right, what'll happen is you won't see like this camera flip here that I use as a visual cue. And if you'll see Tor glow like this, and then I'll probably just, oh, no, I actually saved it. Nice. So you can fall up there. I might actually be able to save this. Oh, I saved it. Oh my god. Okay. So the goal of the up warp is to get you up onto this platform. And then from here, if you touch this and then fall off, you can then activate the loading zone to the abandoned mines. For what it's worth as well, I am doing this live, and I have a really good example of this in my any percent tutorial of how to get this down. So if this part of the video isn't really helping, I'll probably link that somewhere in the comments for the VOD. Just hit me up, I'll shoot you a message. I'm pretty chill about that kind of stuff. So let me do that one more time, just because I've done it wrong twice now, and I want to show you what it looks like at full speed, so I can give you kind of an idea in real time what I'm kind of looking for as a runner while I'm sort of thinking through it. Oh, I'm gonna have to set up my file again. Gosh dang it. Pain. So this has got to go up to here. Go 30. Oh. 32. Give myself some. I don't need 32 potions of power. That's a little overkill. Okay. So let's do this at full speed. 1,000. Stop. That was a little late. Yep. Beefed it. Beefed my camera angle too. That's a little better. 1,000. Stop. Oh, that was late, but I still got it. I'm sick. Sometimes, once you, learn the setup, you can kind of intuit timings from, gut feeling, and that is a very prime example of that. So last time, when I did this setup, I was actually too slow in my right-hand turn, so we're actually going to go a little bit earlier. So as soon as it intersects, I'm going to turn right instead, and that should get it to work. So I waited for sort of the rock to catch up with the top of the camera, and then as soon as I started seeing that, that's when I moved over to the right. And so once you start moving around the bucket, as I like to call it, that's when things are kind of time sensitive. I'm pointing my camera so that it's looking up and to the left, so that I can see this upside down cone coming up. That's the platform we want to land on, right? So there's the cone. I wait for this camera flip. I keep going for a second, and then I start holding. I change angles by, I'd say, about 15 to 20 degrees, and I start holding forward. And then you get this up warp up here. Now there is a chance that you get up warped on top of that cone. If that happens, hold L2 straight to the left, you should land on here. Okay? So now we're back to normal, right? This is where I kind of wanted to be. So what you want to do is there's this little ledge right here. You're going to hold L2 and walk onto it. Believe it or not, this is a tiny little trigger that's going to allow us to load into abandoned mines. So here I like to pop a potion, L2 strafe to the left so I fall off, and then we're going to start running towards the middle of that pipe right there. Okay? So I'm going to line up kind of with the middle of the pipe, like this. I'm going to hold L2 and walk forward until I can't move any further forward. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep kind of edging myself with to the left until I eventually am allowed to move forward, and then I start holding forward. And then that warps me inside of here. Then I can start hitting this way, and then a jump, and you're in bounds. Just like that. So, like I said, I explained that a little bit better in my YouTube video on it. I will link that in the comments somewhere on the VOD for this. Or if anybody's trying to learn this in the interim, let me know. I'll shoot you the video early. But from there, I just realized I rushed ahead. My bad. Trying to make sure Richard can go to bed on time. So, from the start of the caves, if you land in here, right, you go to the right, and then you go left. And then what I like to do is sort of jump into this pipe and grab the smoke remote. If you do it right, you'll skip the text box. Sometimes you won't. Stuff happens. Pain, but you live. And we're going to keep going down the hallway. And so something I like to do here is a combat strafe walk that's very not necessary, but it can avoid some auto jumps. So you'll see one probably right about here. Oh, it didn't give me it. All right, we'll eventually see one. And so what I do is I cross all 4 sets of the tracks, and then on the last one, I go down this way. And if you see a minecart, just jump. You'll either barely get damaged by it, or you'll jump right through it just like that. It's hilarious. And then from here, once you go into this room with the pink crystal, you're going to fall off to the left. And then we're going to take the first left. Then once we get in here, we're going to take the first right. But as we do this, we're going to hug the right wall so that we don't wake up this enemy. And then as we go through here, hug the left wall to avoid that enemy right there. Otherwise, they'll chase you down and bug you. And then from there, take the left. And then we're going to follow the minecart tracks to the left here. And so normally in this session, you're supposed to save all the Kagam villagers before you can take on the boss and save the mirror. But what we can do instead is we can just walk down the train tracks or run if you're sick. And then from here, we can do an R1 jump onto this platform and we're there. Now, if this is your first run or you're practicing, make a save right here, especially if you're not using the practice tools. Because if you fall back in the lava on the way out, you're going to be really upset at yourself. So you can also save at the start of mines as well. There's a save point right there too. But going into Ixie Chieftain, this is probably the easiest boss fight in the game. So we start off with an easy fight. So what we're going to do is, as we walk across the bridge, we're going to open the consumables menu by hitting up on the D-pad, hold square, and then we walk into the fight. And so what this will do is it'll instant skip the boss's dialogue, and then we're just, similar to the Ixie Raider, we're just going to walk right up and do the combo stun lock. So 3 hits and then hold L1. And if you do it right, the boss will go nowhere. Sometimes you'll have to chase him. So you need to make sure that your shield cancels here are pretty fast, because if you're not fast on starting your next combo, he will actually jump into the air and dodge the hitbox of your swing. So you need to make sure that you're practicing your tempo there on an enemy. Don't just like practice it like out in the open, because the timing changes if you actually hit an enemy with it, right? So once that's all taken care of, I'm gonna pop a potion here because I'm sick, and we're just gonna jump our way over to here to the mare. And then if you're also sick, you can actually set up another text box skip glitch midair, hold square, and then you'll skip through all the mare's dialogue just like that. Take a little sip of water because I've been talking for like, I don't know how long straight. Remember to stay hydrated, everybody.
Being hydrated is probably one of the most overlooked parts of speedrunning, you know?
Like, water just tastes so good. It's just, like, not fair.
I heard some people would say you're wrong, but I agree with you.
Yeah. All right, from here, we're going to go down the tracks and then immediately take a right and take the zip line all the way down to this first cliff here. And what we're going to do is grab some hidden Nova and Supernova motes. These are super effective against every kind of enemy, so they're really nice to have. So there's going to be this ladder down here, L2 fall down here, jump into both of the motes, so you skip their text boxes, and then fall into the river. Alright, so from here, pop a potion, go across the bridge, and we're going to make our way back into Kagam Village. So the reason we do Ixie Raider, or Ixie Chieftain first, is because we get a really broken quest reward out of it. It also just happens to be like the first boss that we can get, and this is just a really convenient time to go take care of him. So as we walk into the village, up on the D-pad, hold square, and then we'll skip past Tad the lad. I love him. The whole community just loves Tad because he's got the little overalls and he's just a lad. We love Tad. So keep holding square through this whole cutscene because it'll allow you to skip all the text boxes. And then eventually we'll get a very busted quest reward from this. And we'll bow, and we get our magical potato set. So, this is interesting, right? Because it's like, oh, it's a raggedy cloak. But it's actually a super, like, busted, like, thing that we have access to. Before I, like, go into more details about it, I will note that depending on how much extra money that you have here, in your first runs, you may actually find it useful to head into this shop right here. And go ahead and grab a bunch of these red juppies. So you usually have like about 300 Neo points left over to grab a couple of these. But again, make sure you make sure that you have at least 11,000, because otherwise you'll be mad at me later. I'll just put it that way. So you can get some extra health pickups here. And I would definitely recommend doing that. But in like an optimized run, there's some freebies that we can get along the way that are a little bit faster. But every little extra bit every little bit of extra health will help for your first couple of runs. So there is no shame in going out of your way and stocking up. You may even choose to do a couple of extra dupes on the money glitch so that you can like stock up here. That is a totally viable way of doing this. And honestly, I would probably recommend it. All right, so from here, we're gonna make our way out of Kagam Village. We're gonna head down this way. And this is where we're gonna first get introduced to mega jumping. This is something I don't normally teach to first-time any % players, but if you're playing all bosses, it's kind of a necessity to know how to do this trick. So this is a really good place to start to learn it and to practice. And so I'm gonna show you what a mega jump looks like, and then I'm gonna show you how to do one and sort of what we're trying to accomplish with this. So that's a mega jump. As you'll notice, I get like this massive burst of height. And so essentially whenever I equip my cloak in the pause menu and then press the sword to decloak, it like lags the game a fair bit while it's in that bright flash. And that lag can be used to do some nonsense. So for example, it can be used to buffer jumps on back-to-back frames. So basically what's happening is, I'll just do a high-level breakdown for you real quick. So what's happening is I'm decloaking and then I'm buffering a jump and a select input on the same frame, right? So because like the lag buffer is so long, it just allows you to get a frame perfect input, right? And so what I can do is after I press triangle to close the menu, I can, while I'm still holding L2, I can press X and the game will still think that I'm grounded. And as a result, will let me do a second jump. And that allows me to take the height from both jumps and combine it together and get me this mega high jump, okay? So one thing that you'll need to keep in mind whenever you're doing this trick is something called the gravity value. So you see that dark blue value that says GRV? That's at 1.0 right now. And so the way gravity works in this game is that whenever you are on the ground, you have a default gravity of 1. Whenever you jump, you have a third of your normal gravity value. So it's 0.30. And then if you fall for long enough, it becomes 0.35 because, you know, like the idea of terminal velocity. And then once you touch back down on the ground again, it resets to 1. That's the intended behavior, right? But if you jump and then interrupt landing on the ground properly by doing something like a ledge grab, you'll notice that my gravity value is locked at 0.30. Meaning that I kind of have a moon gravity situation. So I'll show you an example, right? Let's say I have 1.0 gravity and I L2 run off a ledge. See how I immediately fall like a brick? Now, if I do this again, but with 0.30 gravity, watch how I just kind of float off the edge really slow like that, right? So the funny thing is that the height that you get from a mega jump is determined by your gravity value. Now, you can do a lot of these at like the default 1.0 gravity value, and most of the time you'll be fine. But to make it easier on yourself, so one thing to keep in mind, if you jump up the ladder like I did, and you don't jump at all on your way here, you will always have a 0.30 gravity value. It's just a nice little setup. But if you accidentally jump, which happens, all you need to do is just jump, grab a ledge, turn around, hold L2, and walk off the ledge just like that. And then you'll notice we have this 0.30 gravity value for which we can do mega jumping off of. Like that. So I'll give you an example of what like a lower gravity or like a higher gravity jump looks like. Yeah, not nearly as much height, right? So the whole goal in this, for this first one, is that there is a guard that is like in the way who's like, you don't have clearance, you know? And so he like, you have to do like the slow walk of shame across the bridge. But what we can do is a mega jump over the invisible wall that goes like way above the ropes on the side of the bridge and fall into the river, which is our goal. And it'll death warp us back further up Draken Ridge. And that's really fast. So again, make sure you have this 0.30 gravity value. And so what I like to do for this setup is I like to get about to here sort of like, so the length of this like rope to the side, I go about, I'd say roughly halfway the length of the rope and stand toward next to it. and point him towards that second tree. So there's this tree to the left of the bridge, and then there's another tree to the left of that. I point Tor's head right in the middle of that. And then what I do is I equip cloak, and then I press circle, and then as soon as I press circle, I hold forward. And then as it sort of flashes the screen, I'm gonna hold select and X. And use my input display as a guide, right? So again, you're still holding R1, hold R1 as well, forgot to mention that. So still holding forward, still holding L2, you're gonna unpause with the triangle button, wait just a brief moment, and then press X. Like that. And that'll get you up and over the invisible wall and into the moat just like that. Now, if you're still having trouble with mega jumps, just let me know. I made an entire video dedicated to teaching people how to do mega jumps and some like any percent specific setup. So let me know if you're still having trouble with that. Happy to help. But with that being said, we're going to move on from here. And I'm just going to assume at this point that you have the understanding of how mega jumps work, because we're going to be using them later on. And if I like go through the inputs over and over and over, like none of us are going to go to sleep. And I'm probably already running us tight on time here, right? Pop a potion, jump over this ledge, and we're going to head back into Marital Village. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this right. Again, doing the L2 runs here off these ledges so that we run mid-air. This is very important while you have a potion of Mirka speed going, because it actually allows you to preserve that speed mid-air, as opposed to having the slower, like, constrained jump lateral speed, if that makes sense. We're going to fall into the moat again. You're probably going to be high gravity here, so I just do a jump slash, and that puts you up here. We're going to go to the left of the arena this time, and we're going to go straight up the hill to the left of this cow lady. I don't know what kind of Neopet she is, but she's the cow lady. That's just what I call her. And so what we're going to do from here is we're going to head to the left of these rocks, fall in the water. This is just another little time saver shortcut. And then we're going to go down the river, and we're going to grab a water moat. Having the water moat is going to be really nice later. So what I do here, pop the potion, jump into it, and grab it just like that. Okay? Then once you're at the bridge, jump left, take the first left, and we're heading out to Illison's Glade. So if you've ever seen a speedrun of this game before, you will have seen this glitch that we're about to do. It is called a ledge fly. Essentially what a ledge fly is similar to a mega jump, but instead of buffering 2 jumps back to back, we force a jump to happen on the frame where Tor gets pushed off a ledge and tries to grab back onto it. So it combines ledge grab properties with jump properties. And so the way that you achieve that is, I'm just going to cut the grass here so it's a little bit easier to see. The way that I like to set this one up, especially if you're learning this for the first time, is I like to sort of tap my way up to the edge, and eventually Tor will kind of just fall off and either auto jump and you just hold back and regrab, or eventually he'll just kind of do that, and then you can sort of regrab the ledge. And so what regrabbing the ledge does is it puts you right at the very edge of the platform, and that's what you want here. So from here, what you want to do is hold L2. This is going to pivot Tor in place to face this rock wall. And all you need to do is equip cloak. And you're going to press circle like we did for the mega jump. But instead, once we see the screen flash to white, we're going to hold back on the stick and X, just like this. And you'll start flying, just like that. Pretty straightforward. I'll give you one more example of what that setup looks like. But this one's pretty easy. So again, set up the fall. L2 to turn Tor around. Swap to cloak. Circle, hold back. Flash, hold X. And you'll notice that our ledge fly gets canceled on this floor. So you're basically, whenever you're ledge flying, you have a couple of properties. Gravity doesn't affect you. You are moving at a set speed, and you have no clip through a lot of different types of walls. Some things will stop you that look like walls, but most of the time, floors will stop your ledge fly. So the out-of-bounds floor here is what stops us, which allows us to proceed out of bounds here. So what you're going to want to do is follow the grass. You're going to follow the grass through here. You can pop a potion here if you'd like. And you're going to keep going through the wall, follow the grass, and then you'll pop through this wall, keep following the grass, pop through this wall right here, and you'll see this big grassy plain. We're going to go off the left edge of it. Eventually, I won't be able to move, so I jump. Gets me over the invisible wall. And see where Tor's head is pointed? That's the direction we're going to head. okay? There's going to be this sort of floor space that we're going to be able to land on over here. And so I'm going to L2 fall into here, so we land on this thing here, and the camera's going to be kind of funky, okay? So what we're going to do is, so there's basically this false wall and then the actual wall, and then you'll see stuff like that start to happen, right? So what you're going to want to do is as you you're going to want to hold L2. As you start to walk through the false wall, start holding up and to the left, and then toward will hopefully upward. As soon as you see him upward, hold up and to the right. Like that. So you see how I kind of did that zigzag motion right there? That gets me up here. And so then what you can do from here, for time's sake, I'm just going to show you the easiest way to do this, because I have a feeling we're cutting things tight. What you can do is you can jump around this side, ledge grabbing as you need to, and then you can either ledge grab or just jump onto this, and you're home free. So what I like to do is from here, I like to go to this direction, jumping over all of these things, holding down L2 where I can. I go up the first ramp, and then off the second, I jump, and then I land back down in here. It's a nice little shortcut. And then, for time's sake, I'm not going to show this ledge fly. If you want to learn how to do it, DM me. What you want to know, though, is you want to head back to the start of the area and stand roughly about here. Oh, that's not great. So you don't want to fall off. If you do fall off, I'll go ahead and go back out of bounds real quick, because I probably should show you the up warp anyway again. But ideally, you just want to touch that right there, and then you can turn around and go to the Narthus boss fight. So Narthus is kind of our next big objective. I'm just going to, we'll say this, I'll explain this wall clip and again a bit later, but this is just a backup I'm going to do real quick to get us back up there. So this is the same thing, so we're just going to go yada yada, and then we can jump around the side. And then we'll just kind of, just to retrace our stats, I'll show you where to go. Jump down here. Don't fall off the treetops like I did, because that would be really slow. So again, all you need to do is just walk right about here, and you hit the trigger. Otherwise, Narthus just won't spawn in. If you want to walk around in the boss arena in a weird kind of funky state, you can. But what you're going to want to do is just kind of follow the direction I'm going, and this will get us back up to the top of the treetops for the boss fight. So what I would recommend doing along the way here, or at least before you enter Narthus, hello, thank you, is I would recommend equipping your Supernova Mote on your sword slot, circle button, because some bosses in this game don't use up your mote durability, and so Narthus is one of those bosses, so we can use our most powerful mote on him right away. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to menu to a potion of power in advance, and then as I walk into the cutscene, I'm going to hit the potion of power so I get maximum usage out of it. This is the first boss we're going to use the potion of power on. So there is a quick kill setup for this boss that I'm going to attempt to show you. So generally what I do is I don't have a great number on the timings for it, but essentially what I do is I wait a little bit, move forward just a little bit, and then I mash circle, but not the living daylights out of circle, at kind of a rhythmic mash. And if you do it right, you'll get this weird kind of thing, and Narthus will explode. I'm going to go for it just because it's hype. If you don't get it, no big deal. You can just do regular old sword cancel, the same sort of strat we did for Ixie Chieftain. You can do the exact same rinse and repeat on him, okay? So let me try to get this. I'm mostly just going for this for the hype.
I believe.
I don't believe. Narthus is a jerk. So I wait a little. Oh, we got it. Yeah, you see how much damage I did there? So I didn't quite get the mash properly, but from here, you just do the sword cancels and he's dead. Just like that. Awesome, I got that on input display for once. Cool. All right, so what I would put the potion of speed on your triangle button, but I wouldn't activate one yet. because we're going to sit through a cutscene where it will run out the potion timer. And so what I'm going to do, again, is I'm going to do the text box glitch again while running into this cutscene. And then I like to hold square through the cutscene, and then I use my index finger on my other hand to press X for me. And then I keep holding square through here. You'll see, like, for a frame, the consumables menu comes up, and then that lets me skip all the text boxes in this cutscene right here if I keep holding square. So something I am going to note is that after doing this boss fight, and there will be another cutscene in this category that does the same thing, our ledge flying is broken. We can't ledge fly right now because of seeing that Narfis cutscene. So what we're going to do is turn 180 degrees backwards and start running, and we're going to break these with our sword until we get something. And we're probably just going to end up taking both because we want the consumables. And so what this does is it kind of fixes towards whatever issue and allows us to ledge fly again. All right, from that patch, you're going to go around this big tree trunk, grab this ledge, and then you're going to go to the left side of the vines and then climb all the way up to the top. So left side of the vines, climb up. You're going to hold L2. You're going to turn to pivot to face this big green patch on the wall. And we're going to do another ledge fly input again. Circle back, hold X, and you'll see him clip in like this. Hold forward and L2, and you'll land right here. Pretty simple. If you don't, you'll be like somewhere over here, and the camera will look funky. So I recommend holding forward to not cause extra nausea. Okay, so from here, again, we're going to follow the grass. So we're going to go through this wall, up warp up to here. Keep holding forward. Eventually we'll get stopped or turned around. So just jump over that invisible wall. And then I'm going to show you a bit of an easier setup here. So what I'm going to do is I'm running straight for this river. And if I go towards the left side of the river, it will up warp me into the water and put me back in bounds. Then I can fall into this river right here, just like that. And then I can pop another potion right here. So that for this next setup, you have a choice of a mega jump or a ledge fly. I tend to find that if you're good at mega jumps, the mega jump is easier. But I'll just give you a quick rundown on what our objective is, and you can kind of workshop the setup from there. So I grab an extra water moat here, and then right here, I like to set up the low gravity state, like that. And then our goal is to get to that green hill over in the background. So I like to do a mega jump here. You can do a ledge fly off that ledge right here. Accomplishes the same thing. It puts you on this thing right here. Go to the left of the rock and run through the wall and keep running. And then once you see these dark green trees, start turning to the left a little bit, okay? So what you're going to try to do is you're going to keep heading this way. And you see that tunnel right there. We're going to run towards it, holding L2. Yeah, run towards it, holding L2. And you're going to up warp on top of it. And then you can jump back off and turn around. And so now what we're going to do, if I can get my bearings, is we are going to head this way. So to the left of this tunnel, we're kind of headed towards this way. You can kind of see the creek over there. All the way I'm headed. What I'm looking for right here is there's these two grassy green plains, and I went a little too slow. This will probably kill. Oh, this might not kill me. Okay. So this is going to be a just kind of follow the way I'm going segment right here. I got to be careful not to go too slow. But the end result is you should end up in this like unloaded Meridell village with the castle up here, right? And so this is I'm going to have to do this a little bit fast because this is another one where if we're too slow, the console will load in the wrong area too quickly. So high level, what I'm going to do is there's that rock up there, right? There's a green platform right by it, and I'm going to up warp to it and immediately jump off. As soon as I get that up warp, I am on a timer to get underneath that middle pillar right there, that middle castle spire. And so if I do that, I will actually load in a debug trigger left over by the game's devs, which will let us get into Meridell Castle. So high level right now, like just big picture, we have beaten 2 bosses, and we specifically did Narfis so that we can activate all of the bosses that are triggered during Act 3, right? So you get those 2 out of the way first. But we need to finish Act 1 inside the castle, which is locked to us at the moment. Excuse me. And so because of that, we got to do this kind of wrong warp setup. So This is, if you're having trouble with this, I have an extra video with input display on YouTube. But we're going to upward to the rock, rush our way underneath that pillar, and make our way inside the castle. So I'm going to show you what, I'm going to have to do this at full speed just to show you what this looks like. So pop the potion, make sure you do that. We're going to upwarp. As soon as I see the upwarp, I hold back into the right and then jump. And I'm turning around and I'm booking it for that pillar. If you see that water in the background, that means you did it right. And then once the water disappears, I'm going to stop moving. Boom. Just like that. You're going to pause, equip your cloak, and then press circle immediately. This unsticks your camera, and it'll put you somewhere in the castle courtyard. And so then what you can do is you can follow the castle wall, the inner castle wall, go through this door, and we're at the end of Act 1 already. This skips so much of the main quest, I don't even know where to begin. All right. So this next ledge fly, pretty straightforward. You're going to jump on top of this bed, and I'd say get roughly close to the edge. You don't need to be like tippy top edge. You can just be roughly about here and just do a ledge fly input. And that'll get you up here, and the camera's going to be a little goofy. So what I like to do is sort of jump out to the right, and then I can pan my camera down. And as you'll see, there's the first floor of the castle. And what we can end up doing is, so that circle right there, that'll make us fall back down into a lower level. We don't want to hit that. So we want to go around the side of that. And so what you'll want to do is go, you see how I'm like looking for this like gap between the rooms where there's nothing and it's just kind of a hallway? We're running in between that right now, and that'll prevent us from falling. So once I get about halfway down that like quote unquote hallway, there's this little gray box that's next to these wooden beams. I'm aiming for that with Tor so that I fall into it. So I hold down L2, and then I just hold forward. And then I should land you in a cutscene trigger, okay? So there are two options that you have to do this escape sequence. I'm gonna show you the easier one, which will save you a lot of stress. So the first thing you do at the start of this segment is you just let the three sisters, you basically stand in front of the door and just kind of move back and forth until they break the door. This will let you escape. And then what you need to do is go over to this pillar and let the fairy sisters break it. This will give us something to ledge fly off of. So I have to do this a little bit quick, but it's a standard ledge fly input. So what we're going to be doing is aiming at the torch with L2 and then a ledge fly input. And so sometimes this will just happen where you get sniped out of midair. It's a little unfortunate, but if you're quick, you can do a ledge fly right through here, and you'll just magically end up here, okay? So we're kind of in that hallway area again, right? But luckily, the barracks are not in the way. So what we need to do is we're up here. Yeah, you can see they're still trying to shoot at us all the way from down there. They are evil. So this hallway right here, right? We're gonna run around the side of it. Pop your potion now if you'd like. We're gonna run around the throne room, and then there's this hallway that you can kind of see this long rectangle on the other side. Hold L2, fall into it, you should fall right into the cutscene trigger, and that's the end of Act 1, just like that. Awesome. So there's a lot going on in Act 1. Act 2 gets way easier. Act 2 is really, like, beside a couple of things, is a sort of learn the route and sort of do as I say sort of situation. So for the sake of time, since it's mostly movement, I'm just going to be kind of skimming over Act 2, if that is fair to y'all, you know, because I want to make sure we get to all the good all bosses goodness, right? But just something to keep in mind at the start, that you can do text box glitches on all of these pickups and a lot of these cutscenes here. And I also tend to like to swap to fire mode right here on my way here. So during this point of the game, we don't have Cloak of Heroes, we don't have any of our money or potions. So this is kind of a fundamentals check. So like I said, I'm just going to kind of let the route and sort of the general movement I'm doing speak for itself. But Church, I don't know if you had any questions, if anyone in chat had any good questions, but we've got plenty of time for that sort of stuff right now.
Again, so I think you're doing pretty well explaining. I don't particularly, again, maybe this is because I've seen it a few times, so I know there was one question. This was a way earlier, and you kind of got into like a lot of you got into a lot of complex questions, so I didn't really ask. Although I'm pretty sure you more or less covered it.
Okay.
With all of the boss fights you've done, but somebody at some point asked if the 3-hit combo worked on every enemy, or if it was just specifically enemies.
No, it is specific enemies. So it's good for Narfus, it's good for Ixie Chieftain. We are actually, this is kind of one of the cool things about 2023 Neopets PS2 is that we actually rerouted it to do more fights as Roberta instead. And the way that you fight with Roberta is a bit different than you fight with Tor. But for most like mob type enemies, yeah, you can do that on all of them, which is pretty nice. But there are several bosses that are kind of more scripted encounters, and then there are other bosses that are kind of just like they will block your hits, so you have to bait and punish, and you can't really do a 3-hit combo bait and punish very well because they'll kind of just fall out of it, if that makes sense. So it's more effective to do other strategies.
Yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask them, and we will do our best to get answers for you.
Yeah, and that goes for the Twitch chat as well as the YouTube comments as well. Like, if you leave a YouTube comment, I will probably see it, like, immediately, because I feel like all the people who know about this game and play this game are, like including myself, are huge nerds about it. And so because of that, we just, like, as soon as we see any kind of video or anyone kind of talking about the game, we are just there. So, all right, we're going to talk to Saradar here. I'm going to briefly show you how I set up the combat training here. So after he says to concentrate text box, what I do is I go over to the left, I press circle once and then set up text box skip, and then I do the same thing again. And then for this part, you only need a half charge, tiny little charge to get it to work. And my goal is to just set up the text box glitch in between each. And then you kind of saw me set up my moat earlier, so I get a quick fire immediately. We get a fire for free, which is really nice. And then I set up text box glitch after we get the clothing. You don't really have enough time to react as soon as you kill the book. But right here, this is where we're going to use... So we have enough money to grab 2 potions of Miracle Speed just at the start of Act 2. So we used 1 right here. We're using it in all these movement segments where we don't expect to be jumping a lot. And this is where I like to integrate a lot of L2 strafe walking, where I'm just holding down L2 and moving in order to prevent Roberta from auto-jumping, which kind of slows her down and doesn't give us as much value out of these speed potions. So one thing that you can do, and it's kind of an advanced technique, is something called ESS walking, where, and you'll see me do it, I'll do it down this hallway. So it looks kind of funky like this. And so notice she's kind of walking at an angle, and I can kind of turn Roberta with the camera. What I'm doing is I'm holding L2, obviously, and holding run, and I'm holding very slightly left or right of center up on the stick, and that allows her to move at such an angle where I can actually turn her with the camera while using her full run speed. Make sure you get that wind moat, by the way. It is, invisible, but make sure you grab it.
Somebody asked, can you do ledge flies just about anywhere, or is it specific ledges?
You can do them on any ledge with mixed results. So and we'll talk about this once we do some of the advanced, all bosses ledge flies, which are required to do the category. When you do a ledge fly, your distance from the ledge, as well as sort of the angle that you're turned away from the ledge instead of dead on, will actually affect the angle that you get sent at. So all of the setups I've shown you so far have been for horizontal ledge flies to make them as easy as possible and kind of as hard to mess up as possible, right? But some other ledge flies are going to require more complex angles and slightly different setups, right? So things like how the character is rotated, how far you are from the ledge affects the angle. You can get downwards ledge flies that don't send you straight forward, but actually at a decline. You can get some that send you at an incline. But generally, we try to avoid the ones with an incline because they have a high risk of soft locking if you do them wrong. But I'll show you one of them at the very least because it's hype. And it I would get yelled at by the entire speedrun community if I didn't at least show it off when I'm doing anything all bosses related. It's one of those kind of strats, you know. All right, so something I'm doing here as well is I'm kind of rotating between up and upright on the stick, and that basically cancels Roberta's push animation into itself and allows you to push things faster. It's just very funny when the characters aggressively grunt while moving things. It's not supposed to be like that aggressive, but it sounds that way because we reactivate the sound trigger multiple times. Oh my goodness. There we go. So I do a little jump right here. That gets me a little bit of extra distance. And then what I do after this one is I hold up and to the right on the stick. This will cause me to run up the stairs and get me a little extra distance during this cutscene. All right, so I usually, for the second potion, I wait till I get to the top of this flight of stairs, just in case I accidentally auto-hop, and then I make use of the potion. Again, kind of the key when you have limited potion resources. This was especially the case back in the day, back when some of the stuff that you'll be seeing was in any percent. It's very important to remain grounded and to like use your potions through areas that allow you to remain grounded as much as possible. So we go straight across here. This is kind of one of the annoying things about learning this game is like learning where to go in Act 2. It very much messed me up when I first started learning the game, but you get used to it. You start getting muscle memory and all that jazz. So we're taking door number 2 on the right side here, not door number 1. Don't be like me. Yeah, this is kind of a nice break before we get into Act 3 where things kind of go out of control. I don't know if because last time we did like a show, I think we took breaks. Did you want to take a break during the show, Church, or are we like that strapped for time?
We're not that strapped for time. If you want to take a break, we can go straight through it.
We can go straight through. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure you're not like dying over there or anything like that.
I'm doing good. Fortunately, I don't have the controller in my hands, so if I need to, I can run to the tap real quick for water.
That is true.
If you need a break at any time, though, you feel free.
Yeah, I'll let you know. All right, so right here on the endless staircase, as I go down this second statue and I go halfway down, you'll see kind of the camera flicker. From there, you go backwards, flicker, forwards, flicker, down the stairs. If you repeat that one more time, it insta-solves the puzzle. So the way the puzzle works is whatever like statue's hand is open palm, that's the way up or down you need to go. And it's like set like a combination lock. So if you go the same movement every time and you know where the thresholds are, you can get through that puzzle very quickly. I know like that murdered everyone as a kid because that puzzle just did not make very much sense. And that's Act 2. You just go through the door right there. And so this is where we're going to get reunited with Tor. And this is where we go from like the kind of more any percent stuff to all bosses. This is where the run really starts to pick up in hype as well as in difficulty. So like I said, if you just want to do any percent, you're valid. This category is really hard, okay? So we want to skip this fight. So what I'm going to do is there's kind of this slanted line right here. I line up Tor's right ear with where it kind of meets the top of the edge. And then I jump like... I do a standing jump far enough away from the ledge, so about this distance, and then I hold forward. But I get up here with 0.3 gravity, and then from here, what I generally do is it's a little funky because Tor's like head is like pointed away from here, but there's next to this tree. There's like these 2 dark lines with a diagonal line in between the 2. I line up Tor's left tip of his ear with a second line, and then I do a ledge fly input. But it's going to be really funky because I allowed the enemies to kind of go wild, but this should still work. And you'll just kind of fall in right here. But otherwise, you'll just kind of, generally, most of the time when you do this, I'll try to show you an example, if I can, if it will let me. Most of the time when you do this, you'll land somewhere like over here. And so what you're going to look for is like this false wall that's kind of not false. Jump, you'll ledge grab, and you'll get up here. And then from here, you can climb the out-of-bounds ledges, jump through this wall, and you're in bounds past the invisible wall where you're supposed to kill all those enemies. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pop a potion. There's a tech skip glitch we can set up on the second one right here, just like that. And we're going to head to the right. And so if you want to as well, there's a couple of freebies. Generally, it's just purples, so I wouldn't There's another one that usually gives you reds up here, which can be really nice. Let me see if I get any. All right, got some. Sweet. That can be another place to grab consumables. All right, so just for the purposes of demonstration, the way that Act 3 is supposed to work is first you're supposed to go to Brightvale, do a bunch of main quest stuff there, and then a bunch of different areas open up. And until you've done that, if you notice, if I try to go any further, big invisible welts over every Act 3 area besides Brightvale. We don't want to go to Brightvale because there's no boss over there. So what we're going to do instead, I recommend grabbing this water moat here, is we're going to do a standard like input ledge fly into this waterfall. So circle back, hold X, and you'll just eventually pop up somewhere around here, mash jump, eventually you'll pop up through the waterfall. You'll notice that the waterfall stops eventually. We're gonna angle ourselves through this rock, and we're just gonna run forward, and then we can L2 fall into here, and we're past the invisible wall, and now we can head into Werewolf Woods. Now we're kind of at the point of the run where we're just gonna be going from boss A to boss B. So we're gonna be making our way into Werewolf Woods. If this is your first run or you're learning the run, highly recommend you make a save at the next upcoming save point. Very, very helpful to have a Werewolf Woods save. This is arguably the hardest part of the run. So, from the save point, you're going to want to go around this big set of rocks in the crooked tree. We're actually going to go up to the witch's hut in the center. So the top of Spiral Mountain's right over here. This is part of the reason we needed over 10 grand, is that there is a wand upgrade we can get from Roberta right here that is very, very broken. So this normally doesn't cost 10k. You're supposed to do a side quest for the Swamp Lady, and then she reduces the price from 10k to like 6k or 4k. I don't remember. But because we have infinite money, we're just going to buy it. So we're going to leave from here. You can either go down the hill the normal way, or if you want to go the fun way, go to the top of the hill right here and do a mega jump over the wall. Just like that. And then we're going to make our way to Werewolf Woods. So the reason that Werewolf Woods is so hard is that you're normally supposed to go to Werewolf Graveyard and get, like, I don't know if they're bone fragments or charm fragments or keys or what they are. You're supposed to get 3 doohickeys in order to open Werewolf Burrows, which is where the boss is. But we're not going to be doing that. Instead, what we're going to be doing is a ledge fly. So what I do here is I make sure that I'm at 0.30 gravity. So there's this big pile of rocks over here. That's what we're looking for. I'm going to go up here, stand to about here, and I'm going to do a sword slash. So this is going to put us at a very specific distance away from the ledge to try to get us a downwards angled ledge fly. If you get a horizontal ledge fly, perfectly fine. This makes it a little easier. We're going to do the same ledge fly inputs. Just make sure you... Oh, I just did it off taking damage. I'm a god. All right. So then sometimes that will happen, right? So sometimes you'll get sniped and you'll get a weird thing like that. If that continues to happen, don't do the sword slash. Just grab the ledge and do the ledge fly and aim yourself towards this big crack in the wall right here. So line up your ears kind of like this with these 2 cracks in the wall. And this should give you a horizontal ledge fly that will eventually allow you to stay out of bounds here. And so hit square to let go, hold L2. And so you're gonna notice that we're gonna fall way out of bounds here. So once you're out of bounds and you have vision to see things, you'll see this green stuff over here. That's Werewolf Woods. And then that over there is the first floor and the transition into Werewolf Burrows. So there's that campfire thing over there, right? What we want to do is go between 2 loading planes. So my first thing to do is I usually back off a little bit, sort of back out from where we were. And then I kind of run along to the right here until roughly about here. And so I'm going to actually show you something really cool in the practice tools called the zone map. So you see that red thing on the left side of that screen and the green tube on the right? We want to run between those 2, right? So if you're doing this with the zone map, it actually becomes really easy to practice. So generally, I go kind of to I go pretty far to the left of all this. You kind of want to be in the middle between all that nonsense and like this platform over here. As you can see, there's this kind of extra bit of tunnel up here that can cause you to get a bad thing. And our goal is to head for that thing over in the center there, that thing that's way down there. And so generally what I do is I use this as a guide. I aim towards this and kind of head towards it a little bit up and to the left. And then once I start to close in, I head towards this platform. All right, so this is gonna go very quick because I have to be quick. But what you're gonna see me do is I'm gonna up warp onto this platform, and then I'm gonna immediately turn 90 degrees to the right and hold forward and keep running for 4 full seconds, and then swap to Roberta. It's gonna look like this. 1, 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1000, 4, 1000, stop. Swap to Roberta. And if you did it right, in the boss arena, just like that. Okay, so what you're going to want to do here as Roberta is you're going to want to equip your water motes, equip potions of power. Oh, we got his boomerang stuck. I've never seen that before. All right, so use a potion of power. During like this first part of the phase, he gets like really confused. So you can kind of just wail on him with the 3-hit combos. And then you kind of want to read his attacks. So this is a dangerous fight, so you got to be a bit careful. If he does a 3-hit combo attack, like melee attack, you can get in a hit. But if he does this, you're going to want to stay all the way back so he can't hit you. Then he's going to throw boomerang. Take the hit, 3-hit combo. And then just adapt. And then zone in and out as you need to. If he's too close to the middle of the arena, you can do a jump and then attack in order to damage him, but it won't make him leave that fire attack phase. That's the really annoying attack that you don't want to see. And if you need to, you have enough extra for extra potion of power usage, but if you do the setup for the fight correctly, you shouldn't need it. So I'm waiting out here, waiting for him to throw the boomerang. We get a big 3-hit combo, and it just kind of disrupts him. And he's done, just like that. All in one potion of power. That's the big reason why we want to get that wand upgrade for Roberta, is because she shreds the Wereloop King, just like instantly. Right, so that's that fight done. I don't know why the Wereloops are still here. That's unusual. Not a big deal, that won't bother me. Okay, so I don't know if I can offer up any more advice than what I gave. Just make sure you use your water motes. That's why we grabbed the extra ones, is because I believe he is weak to fire, or weak to water. Right, so we used up some of our water mote right there. I swapped to Tor here, pop a potion of power, and run right through the waterfall, holding L2. And then, as I jump up this ledge, and jump the second ledge, I'm going to open this chest to the left. This is going to give us a lava mote. We're going to be grabbing this now. This is a guaranteed drop, and this will be really helpful for the jumpy monster fight at the very end of the run. So a cool little movement you can do here. You hold down L2, and you have like the low grab. You can do a little jump like that. It's a little bit faster. All right, so now we need to do what I would argue is the harder part, which is getting out of Wereloop burrows. So this setup used to be awful, but I managed to find a setup that is remarkably consistent, but the out-of-bounds part is still pretty tricky, okay? So just bear with me here. So there's this ledge right here, there's this torch, and if you look very closely, you'll see a little bit of dirt that kind of just like pokes through the side of the collision. So what I like to do is I like to line up Tor and get a ledge grab such that like where his right hand is gonna grab is on the left side of that little tiny dirt splotch that clips to the floor there. So right about here, and he's probably gonna bother me, that's okay. I turn so that like Tor is kind of aligned, so that he's parallel with the torch, kind of facing the same direction as it. And then I do standard ledge fly input. Circle back, hold X. And it should give you a horizontal ledge fly at kind of a funky angle. And eventually what it'll do is it'll cause you to stop and float mid-air here, kind of in the middle between this big thing of rocks and that platform over there. You're gonna hold run, L2, square, let go. And then you're going to up warp on top of this. And then jump backwards. Just like that. Should fall down here. And then you'll see things have changed a little bit. Okay? What you're gonna do is you don't wanna go too far wide. You don't wanna go too far out away from all this cool nonsense here. You're gonna wanna hold L2 during the majority of this sequence. And you're gonna wanna continue running along with the shape of this pathway and tunnel here. So follow the way I'm going. Keep holding L2 because you'll see nonsense up warps like that. And then once all the collision appears, you're gonna turn 90 degrees and start heading towards the middle here and just wait. All of this is gonna spawn in, and you're gonna turn your camera all the way up so you can look around, okay? You see that jawbone right there? That's the exit to Wereloop Woods. So and sometimes you can even see it on the map, but look for the green splotches, look for the jawbone. Once you see the jawbone, run towards it. You should land about up here. And then what you can do is if you walk up here, it'll actually show you the cutscene for it locking the door behind you, which puts you back in bounds. And that's like the easiest strat that I was able to come up with for that. That's going to take a lot of practice. I'm just going to warn you. It's really hard. But if you can do that, you can do anything. That's like as hard as it gets. And it used to be a lot worse, trust me. So we're going to head out of Wereloop Woods and we're going to make our way to our next boss. Luckily, the next part of the run is way, way easier because we're headed to Bogshot. And Bogshot's kind of like the first expected area to take care of with a boss after you visit Brightvale. And so we're going to head back the way we came. Now, keep in mind that that invisible wall that I was talking about is still there. It's going to be there for the entirety of the run. So this is where I said it was really important to do mega jumps if you want to learn this category. Here's a great example. Go to this flower patch, the longer one right here, and you're going to stand kind of in like to the left of the road, right about here. Turn towards the wall with all these trees and this big oak tree over here. Do a mega jump input. Don't need a very high one because it'll just get you up here, and if you accidentally have really high gravity, you'll just grab the ledge. Okay? Bunch of trees and nonsense through here, right? We're gonna climb the hill. So as the slope goes up, that's the way we want to go, right? So down there, something like that's the waterfall. We're going through this big rock wall, climbing the hill, staying to the left of the trees. Kind of follow the way I'm headed here. If you're going the right way, you'll see this big thing right here. We're gonna go up this way, all the way up top. We'll see another waterfall right there. Very key, you wanna go through the fake part of the wall and go around that. Hold forward, L2, eventually you'll pop back up right here. Otherwise, your camera can get stuck on some like nonsense like this. And it gets really annoying to try to fix. Like that, for example. So I'm gonna have to get back out of bounds. See what I mean? Don't do that. Don't do what I just did. You should take me back up there eventually. Oh. I am a little confused as to where I am, so I'm going to try to navigate my way back. I've never gotten, like... Am I? This is funky. Oh! Wow, I got water warped, like, really far away. Holy crap. I might need a... Okay, well, the VOD's going to be up on YouTube. I'm going to do some research on that one, because that might be helpful later for things. I'll keep that one. I've never gotten a water warp like that. That was really weird. It was really fast, too. All right, so don't mind me. Just going to get back out of bounds here. You've seen me do this before, so I'm going to get back to where we were and then show you the way to go. Let's try to salvage this at this point. All right. So this is where we were. Go up by the trees and then start heading up the hill. Take the broad side of the hill, go through the false wall. Head up the side of the hill. Once you get all the way up top, head to the false wall. Go towards the rock, hold L2 and forward. Just like that. Keep staying on the slope, keep running forward. And then what we're going to do is we're going to keep running this way. You're going to see this weird bend in the geometry. Go over it. And head through the false wall. Keep following the grass through the false wall. Keep going this way. Till you get to that here. Then you're going to turn 90 to the right. We're going to head into the trees here. These are all fake trees. They're not real. Hashtag trees are fake. And we're going to keep going until there's no more trees. You'll see these trees in the distance and like some trees all the way down there. You run forward and keep running. And stop a little bit ways through here. Should upward. Did I miss it? There we go. Cool. Should land right about here. And this will put us into Bogshot. Again, we got to do all this weird out of bounds nonsense because there was all these invisible walls because of the Brightvale requirement. So again, just make sure you're making good use of your potions and Mirka speed as well. You don't want to go through all that effort to duplicate these potions and just not use them. Use them or lose them kind of thing. And so we're going to just go straight through Bogshot Village. There is a ledge fly skip that you can do to make this next section a little bit faster, but I struggle with it, and I'm like the one who actually runs this category, so you can skip it. Don't bother. I don't even know if my PB has it. It's awful. It sucks. I haven't found a good setup for it yet. I'm coping. Anywho, we're gonna run our way through Bogshot here, and then we're gonna fall into. So there's like the light green swamp and the dark green swamp. Dark green swamp will void you out. We're just gonna do this because it's a little bit faster. And then to the right of this red chest, we're just gonna go run into the cutscene. And this is the other cutscene I was talking about that can actually disable your ledge flying. So something we're gonna do after this is pick up a Bagus for the first time, which is gonna reset our ability to ledge fly and allow us to continue on with the run. So this is the Gellert Assassin. We'll see him a bit later. He kind of taunts you throughout the whole game. This is the cutscene that you can skip with a ledge fly, but it's awful, so I don't. And you should see like a Bagus spawn over here or something. Oh, did he eat it or something? There we go. So pick up the Bagus for the first time, and then you're gonna head towards this bridge over here and all these weird kind of archways. That's kind of where you're headed. And then from here, because we don't need to do the main quest, all we need to do is fight the boss. We can skip most of Bogshot because we don't actually need to save any of the villagers. This would be a good time to mention that you're going to want to have a Potion of Power ready to go soon-ish. This is Casterless or Plague Serpent. It's lore-wise, it's Casterless, but they just call it Plague Serpent on the UI. It's really dumb. This fight's also pretty easy. So boss doesn't do a lot of damage. The first thing you'll do is you'll get up here. Boss will probably be in the middle. As soon as you see him lunge forward, hit L1 to block, and then just do a jump attack. You'll do that 3 times and the fight's over. Because of the moat combo, the combo of the moat and the Potion of Power and the jump attack, this boss just melts. And so he's going to do a poison attack. So if you see him do the poison attack, just move over to the next pillar immediately. And he's going to freeze me, which is unlucky. Sometimes he'll do that, and it's just mean. So we'll see if he goes for the freeze again. Nope. You block it. Jump attack. Make sure you're not, when you're doing these jump attacks and like holding L1 to block, don't hold R1 because you will end up switching to Roberta, and whenever you switch characters, your potion buffs disappear, and you'll end up wasting a Potion of Power, and it just stinks. So we just gotta wait for the Plague Serpent here. This is also a pretty easy boss, nothing super crazy. One more hit, and boom, the boss is dead, just like that. And then all we need to do is just leave Bogshot. So we get a nice little break after the absolute hell that was Werloop Woods. And so I'd be a little bit careful through here because sometimes this dark green goo can be game over juice. And then there's somewhere over here, I believe, that we can, not this spot, but if we go over a little bit further into this green goo, it'll warp us back to the center of Bogshot, and it's a really nice little shortcut. So yep, just a bit more L2 movement, and then we're going to do another ledge fly setup as we make our way out of here. But I don't know if we had any like quick questions about any of the stuff I'd like just shut off in Act 3. I don't know if you saw anything in chat. I haven't been able to look over at it because I like put the chat window really far away from my face. And I like can't see. I have horrible vision. So I'm just lost.
I don't, unless I missed something, I didn't see anything specific about any of the tricks or anything. Somebody asked if you got locked out of the barrows after that. The burrows, sorry.
Yeah, so after doing that sequence, you can't really go back in Werloop Burrows unless you go get the key items and open it up that way. So all those skips that we did were to sort of skip all of that nonsense. Right, but yeah, that's kind of like, I guess that's technically a point of no return, but like, why would we go back there in a speedrun?
Heck yeah. We don't got time for that anyway.
Alright, so just a nice little time saver strat. This one's kind of optional. You can just climb out of Bogshot if you want. But I like to do a ledge fly at 0.30 gravity at roughly this angle to sort of put me out of bounds here. And then if I go in this direction, just hold forward and a little bit up and to the left, so I can usually just clip in right here. And it saves a bunch of vertical climbing and gets you more use out of your potion. Okay, this tree line and this ledge to the left, we're going to make a jump on it. This is like the easiest like invisible wall to circumvent in the entire game. Okay, so you're going to follow the tree line for a bit until you get to these 2 big rocks. you're gonna go to the gap between this big mountain and those two big rocks. So this tree line over here. And you keep going forward, you'll see the river down here. You go to roughly about here, and then eventually the game will allow you to L2 and walk off. There's a little gap in the invisible walls up there. And so from here, you're gonna head to the right. That's Brightvale over there. That's the place we kept trying to skip. We're gonna keep doing that. And we're gonna head over to this bridge. I've never tried Mega Jump. Hold on. I'm gonna do something for science here. I wanna see if you can Mega Jump this. Because it would be faster. Okay, you can technically, but that is slower. Okay, so let me show you the correct way to do this. So, this side of the bridge facing the wall, jump, ledge grab, point your head towards this rock, circle back X. And then this should upwarp you up here. Unfortunately, I'm getting the weird thing where I like hit a ledge that I'm not supposed to. Everything about that setup was right, but that. But sometimes what you can do is you can hold forward and R1 instead, and it'll give you an upward ledge fly, but let's keep it simple. Point towards the rock, circle back, X. Should ledge fly us up here, good. And then once we're up here, we're gonna hug this right boulder, jump, we get an invisible wall ledge grab, make our way through here, jump up here, go through the tree line, and then eventually in the middle of this gap, there's a hole we can fall through, and that gets us back in bounds. So I kind of wasted a potion here. I'm actually going to swap to Roberta. We're going to be doing the next bit of the run as Roberta because she's just broken like that. We're going to swap to light motes, and I'm going to queue up that mote just in case. Popping a potion of power here as well for these three. I call them the Dark Nuts, but they're Dark Knights is what they're called. And we're just doing 3-hit combos on them. And we do so much damage that they, yeah. This is why we get the wand. So start the engagements from range, so that they have less likelihood of dancing around you. That was all money, and then a lava mote. Lava mote's actually, so depending on what you get here, can actually allow you to go for some slightly faster strats if you get good mote drops. The lava mote drop is actually kind of nice. It can actually, I can show you where I can use that once we get to the chubby monster. But just follow the way I'm going through Market Town right here. And then as we get to the end of the Market Town bit, you're going to see me very critically ledge grab here for the 0.30 gravity like I've been saying before. Because right here, you can set up another Mega Jump. And it's a really nice little platforming skip. Okay, that was a little funky, but I still got it. That's what happens sometimes if you press X too fast. And you don't wait after pressing triangle like I was talking about. All right. So, there's two ways that you can handle Black Keep. There's the hype way, and then there's the old school way. I'm going to show you the hype way first, because it's hype.
Heck yeah.
So, I was talking to Church about this before we started this, but I literally have a sticky note with the setup written down, because this is probably the hardest individual trick I'll be showing off tonight. But it's worth it, because we talked a little bit about ledge fly angles, and so we're going to do a very specific lineup and setup to get a upwards ledge fly. And so you're going to notice like all of the, so I'll show you the map. Look at this big castle grounds. We want to get to that black square at the bottom of it. And it's, I don't even know if you can see it. It's all the way up there. Really far away, right? And there's all these grounds and platforming bits that you have to do, and that's slow. So honestly, I'm mostly just doing this for like troubles at this point, but I'm still going to do it anyway. So this setup is very, very specific. So if you're going to attempt this, first of all, make a save here. There's a save point somewhere down there. So step 1, make a save. Step 2, what you're going to want to do is jump to the right and grab this ledge right here. This is specifically putting us at 0.35 gravity. This is critical for this specific setup that I came up with. So what you're going to do is you're going to see like this big square looking castle. You're going to aim towards, so it's like a square, right? So there's a corner of the square that I'm kind of looking at right now. I'm going to aim a little bit to the left of that. So whichever direction Roberta is facing, that's the way she's going to go. And so my goal with this setup is I'm trying to get as close as possible to this ledge where I can still get a ledge fly, but it doesn't cause me to just run off the ledge. And so I'm holding L2 for this entire setup. This might be borked because of the Dark Knight down there. So I might have to finagle this setup a little bit. But we're going to use Potion of Power, hold down R1. So potion of speed, hold down R1. So I'm holding down L2 and R1, and I have potion of miracle speed. And then once I hit circle, I'm going to hit forward and X. And if my positioning on this door is correct... Oh, I got beefed by the dark nut down there is going to mess me up. So generally, you need to set this up pretty fast in order, because your characters will lock on to a nearby enemy, and sometimes, rarely, he will show up. But that is why you have a save file for... Oh, wait, this is the wrong save file. Dang it. Yeah, give me a second. So I have, these were, old save files from an old route of all bosses, where instead of, doing all of these, most of the bosses in Act 3, we did a good chunk of them in Act 1, which ended up being slower, once, things like the money dupe glitch got found. So this is a big reason why I use the practice tools as well, is you get so many extra save files. So I have a save file dedicated to this trick, because it is very fast in an all bosses run, but it's also really hard, right? So, all right. I gave you the general idea for the setup. That setup was basically perfect, but I beefed it because the Dark Knight was there. Okay, so I'm holding down L2 to line this up. I'm kind of using Roberta's right foot to sort of gauge how close I am to the edge. That looks perfect. Got my angle, pop my potion, circle forward, X. If I did it right, you'll see I have this upwards angle with a Y-val of 7.26. This is the perfect speed and height, and hopefully if I did this right, I should catch the floor here. No, that's too low. Okay, so I beat the setup. So when that happens, that means I am too far away from the ledge. So we're gonna I really want to show this off, so I'm gonna give this a couple of tries. But I guess while we're here, Church, how am I doing on time? Just to double check.
We're at 1:44.
Oh, okay. We're so good. We're in. I thought I was taking so long. Yeah, I was probably not.
You've been doing pretty good.
Let's see if this setup will work. Oh yeah, see, so now my Y-val, I'm pointing at my screen. So see how my Y-val says 7.63? This means I got more Y velocity into my ledge fly. So you'll start to notice I'm climbing at a steeper angle, and eventually I will run into the floor in this room. And we're on the first floor of the castle grounds, okay? So that's the hype way, and that's the fastest way. I'm gonna show you the more reasonable way, and the way we've been doing it since 2012. So interestingly, in the old any percent routes, we used to have to fight Black Knight because we didn't have the ability to use the debug trigger to get into Meridell Castle for Act 1. So what we did is we used the Act 3 method of getting in. And so that required a bunch of stuff, okay? So here's the alternative way that's a lot easier. So what I do is I go all the way to the back right of this area, and I grab this ledge right here, and I do a ledge fly right at the wall, just pointing right at it, set it up quickly, boom. And you'll land right about here. So that skips a good chunk of the area. And then what you can do is you can climb this ladder, and then you climb up the rest of the castle wall, and that'll eventually put you essentially where we landed. So you're gonna see a bunch of ladder climbs and things like that. This is a big part of the reason why the cool strat is actually that much faster, is because it just takes a good chunk of time to get through here. But like I said, this is the way easier version. Yeah, that ledge fly setup is as complicated as I made it look. You just set it up, boom, you should be good to go. And then you can climb up here, and now we're essentially in the same spot as if we did the cool method. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. From here, on our way up, we're going to equip Supernova for Roberta here, and you can pop another speed potion here. We're just going to be going up the rest of the tower the casual way. Except for this one thing. So there is a crate that you're supposed to push. You can land on it, L2 pivot, and then jump off of it in order to get up into here without having to do the puzzle, and then you avoid all the enemies that way. And so this is going to be pretty standard platforming through here. This is another thing where it's just we used to do this as Tor, but we're going to actually be doing this fight as Roberta, and it's we're going to just absolutely melt Black Knight with the power of this super OP wand that we got earlier. So we're going to go past the first door. There's the type... Oh, I beat it. below? Okay. Oh, I'm gonna have to come all the way back up, aren't I? Game's mean. All right, well, I'm gonna shut up for a little bit. I'm really glad though that I got to show off the cool version. I think I got it first try when I did all bosses on Hotfix. How long ago was that? No,
That wasn't that long ago.
it wasn't that long ago.
3 months?
I don't know how y'all keep letting me getting away with like showing Neopets on Hotfix. Like, I still don't get it, right? Because like someone like me, for example, who runs like weird stuff that nobody has ever heard of, just like I'm just so grateful, you know, just to be able to show people this weird game. Because this is like one of my favorite games of all time. So yeah.
I mean, you say it's like a weird game, but like it legit, like every time I've seen it, I've been like, this looks really fun, and I'm sad that I never got to play it.
Well, I know you mentioned this before stream, but you got a copyright, so you can't hide from your fate now.
I cannot.
Also, I gotta
cannot hide from that.
I gotta shout out the Neopets merch in the. This is the shirt that we made for GDQ, which was I survived the Neopets, the Darkest Faerie oubliette, and all I got was this T-shirt. If you know, you know. Well, it's not that sorry, somebody made a comment in chat, and it's not that Neopets isn't heard of. It's just this game is pretty obscure, and it's not Mario or Zelda, you know. So it's just like the range of appeal is a little bit more limited than, you know, some of those blockbuster hits, right? And I don't say that out of like spite. That's just the way it is, right? Okay, Black Knight, pretty straightforward fight. We're gonna use potions and Mirka speed to because the game kind of wants you to block attacks with Tor, but you can just swiftly maneuver him. So like that, you run in and out. Like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and prep a potion of power. And then 1, 2, just like that. That's the first phase. Make sure you stay close to him so he doesn't take forever to like pivot. And so now he's probably going to charge at me. And then you're gonna break his ankles, literally. 1, 2, 3. Again, reverse really OP here. Gonna do a second swing, and then it's his armpits next. So you keep him in the center. 1, 2 on each side. And then this is kind of the hard phase to dodge. And then he's gonna do this sword attack. And then you're just gonna make sure you step out of the way. It's gonna expose his backside. Back of the neck. 1, 2, 3, boss is done. Just like that. The hard part is getting there. That's like kind of the theme with all bosses, is like the hard part is getting to them. But then we have a lot of really cool strats that we've developed to make these boss fights a lot faster. Okay, so really easy to get out of here. So that's the door we just came from. So you go kind of around this wall and down to here. That's the ladder we actually climbed up for the OG method when we were getting through the keep the normal way. So you can just do a ledge grab, and you can just you can literally just improvise a ledge fly right here, and like something will work. This is like one of the most forgiving ledge flies in the game. Like we've been doing that one since like 2014. And then you're just gonna exit cape, and we're gonna make our way and pick up the guild's treasure. We need to make sure that we grab that because there are a couple of prerequisites that we need in order to access sewers, which is where Undead Drake, that boss is. Not to be confused with the rapper musician of the same name, spelled differently, but it was an attempt at a joke. Anywho, we need that as well as our Cloak of Heroes and maybe one other thing. I guess you're technically supposed to do Werloop Woods and then Illisen's Glade. Well, yeah, no, we'll be doing that as well. So you need to beat all the other bosses essentially, besides like the last two before you can get to sewers. And so we take care of this one last, and then we're going to be doing a pretty normal run back over to Illisen's, because there's actually two bosses in Illisen's Glade. We had Narfus earlier, and then we're going to see Gellert Assassin at the top of the treetops again. We're going to talk to this fella who's very fancy. We save the day, and they're going to give us the entire guild's treasure hoard as a reward, which, okay. Cool. Video game progression. All right, hit out the big circle door, and we're going to head back the way we came. All of the invisible walls are still up. There's only one more we've really got to worry about before, like, kind of we're set to go and not have to worry about that anymore. So for you, yeah, so we're going to use Supernova on... So Geller Assassin's our next fight. So I just want to make sure I have my motes equipped. We want to keep Supernova for this fight as well, but we won't be there for a moment. Okay, so once we make our way all the way up the river, once you like get to this rocky patch here, like this path goes between the two sets of boulders, you're going to go to the left edge of this boulder patch, kind of like at the very top of this like little lip of the ledge. You can see Roberta trying to grab it, but it's just too short. Do a standard ledge fly input, so it's circle back X, as close to the edge as you can. This one's a little bit annoying, but if you get the positioning and setup right, you should clip through here. Then eventually you'll want to jump over this invisible wall, hold L2, hold towards the river over there, and then jump. And you should be back in bounds. Don't go over the bridge, go to the left path, head this way, and then take the next left. Now we're going to just be heading back to Illison's Glade, and if you were here earlier, this is going to look pretty familiar. The strats for this are pretty straightforward, which is nice. Yeller Assassin, on the other hand, not very straightforward. Arguably the hardest boss, like, in terms... Like, it is by far the most inconsistent boss, besides maybe Narcus. But the Geller Assassin is brutally evil, very difficult to manipulate properly. I'm going to do my best to explain, like, fundamentals and what I'm looking for, but you're just going to have to roll with me a little bit, because it's complicated, right? So, again, we're still just heading all the way down the road. We're not taking any additional turns. We're going to keep going this way until we get down to Broken Bridge. Grab an extra water, why not? Doesn't hurt. And then what we can do here is, I recommend, there is a ledge fly set up for this, just do the mega jump. Mega jump over the bridge. You're supposed to go to Brightvale, and then this bridge opens up. I beefed it. Yeah, so see what I mean? I'll like accidentally press X too fast because I'm trying to game too hard. Oh, I thought my game crashed there. That would have been funny.
That would
All right, there we go.
Unfortunate.
That would have been funny. You've got to admit.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yep, so we're just going to keep heading down the road, and eventually we'll get the turn off into Illison's Glade. And then, remember from earlier, we're going to do a pretty familiar ledge fly setup. But the conditions to actually get the fight to spawn are a little bit different, so once we actually get out of bounds, things will look a little bit different. My PS2 is trying so hard right now, you have no idea. Alright, so we're getting back to the same spot. I'm going to do the same walk off the ledge setup, so just tiptoe towards the ledge. Roberta will grab back onto the ledge, face the wall, circle back X. Just fly right through. And I'll show you the slightly faster way to get through here, which is you can actually, instead of following the green, you can get to that next point of green through the false wall by just running straight forward, and then you upwarp up here, and then you just keep holding forward. And so from here, we're going to run to roughly the same spot, so that same set of green grassy plains. But instead of that spot to the far left, we're just going to hold W, we're just going to hold straight forward, and we're just going to run forward, and then... Oh, to the left of this rock, sorry. Is it to the left of this rock? I don't remember where the spot is. Okay, you know what? We're going to do this instead. We're going to do the exact same thing and just get up here and just fall in. You can do that too. There's a way you can just jump through the wall. I don't quite remember where the spot is. So we're going to fall into the water here, and this will allow us to set up a ledge fly. I gotta remember what this is, because this is something I came up with earlier today. So what you can do is you can ledge fly off of this. So you take this edge right here, straight angle ledge fly, aim it towards the basket over there. The reason you want to do this instead of going around is it'll actually cancel our ledge fly because of the cutscene, forcing Roberta to drop instantly into the water, which is really fast. So watch her drop. Bob? Wait, who's Bob? I've never seen that. Okay. Anyway, we got Bob. So we're going to go to the left here, and we're going to do the same wall clip to clip through the vines. And I alluded to this setup a little bit earlier. So all the way to the left on the vines. Oh, you mean. All the way to the left on the vines. Hit it around, face the big green spots on the wall. Circle back X at this angle. Clips us through the wall. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hug the wall really tight. So go this way. And as soon as you get the upward, you keep hugging the wall. You keep hugging the green. And if you go too far out, you will actually spawn in an invisible wall, and you have to do a bunch of different setups to fix it. So don't make that mistake. So we are in the exact same spot to be able to do the upwarp into treetops. So that's what we're gonna do. Just like that. Oh, I got the double. That's funny. So if you get up here for some reason, just jump down. Make your life easier. And then we just jump to the top of the treetops. Again, first run, make a save here at the save point. You're gonna want it. Equip your supernova mote, get your potions ready. Honestly, pop it before the fight and then select your healing item and then hold square for the setup for the tech skip glitch. Because Geller Assassin will taunt us. So make sure you are just prepared to take damage. What I'm essentially looking to do is sort of fight a mid-range with Geller Assassin where I'm close enough to trick him into doing a melee attack so I can sort of counter him. Otherwise he'll dodge or reflect. Do you see how he's doing like a lunge? That's what I'm trying to bait out here. Because otherwise he'll just reflect it back and it does a boatload of damage. You hear the ugh! I'm using jump attacks here to try to make this happen. You can wait for the sword plunge as well. That's your best opening. But that's essentially the principle to fight, and you just gotta rinse and repeat, manage your healing and your health bar. It's really tough. If you die here, you'll reload the save. That's how it goes. Yeah, you gotta be really careful with when you time these attacks, because he will just reflect it back at you. This is actually what, be prepared to pop a second potion here as well. You will probably, most runners run out of their first potion here. So I did too, so we're gonna pop potion. If you see him do knives, you can get a hit in as well. That was a good next phase. So he's on his last phase, so he's gonna start to get a bit more aggressive. There's one attack he can do that's really bad, so just make sure you stay close to him. That's Knives Out. Great movie. Ow. Oh, I am out of healing items. Okay, so I'm going to cheat myself in some healing items. There we go. So obviously I would have a lot more if I had gotten all the pickups that I did normally. Oh, that's the fight too. There we go. Normally I have a lot more pickups there, and you probably will too. This file just doesn't. So you can blame me for that one. Okay, so that's Geller Assassin. Explained the best I could. We're gonna go ahead and talk to Illison here, because we can't get out of this area otherwise. This is gonna drop us back down here, and we're gonna do the ye old fall into the water strat. We're gonna go down the lower of the two bridges, and we're gonna do that exact same setup that we did last time we left Illison's Glade. So, then kind of set up, go on the vines, all the way to the left, climb all the way up, hold L2, pivot, out here, ledge fly. I hope y'all are not sick of me saying the word ledge fly. Yeah, so again, jump through the wall, and we're gonna do the same like setup where we just kind of drown. It's gonna be really funny. So we've got one more boss fight that we have got to do before we go and tackle sewers. And that is Juppy Monster. And this is going to be another fight that we're doing as Roberta, because again, Roberta's broken. We will get a sword upgrade for Tor, which will help. But we get it pretty late into the run, so. Unfortunately for Tor, he's not like the star of the show like he is in 100%. We're gonna head our way back through here. And so, no, this is, okay. So we're gonna set up low grav. We're gonna do this exact same out of bounds we're getting here. I'm gonna do the mega jump because it's cooler and slightly faster. Yeah, apologies if I'm kind of rushing through this bit here, just because this is kind of repeat a little bit. And so we're gonna do the exact kind of same thing like we did with the Miradel Castle War, where I'm gonna look for this tunnel and touch it. As soon as I see that I've touched it, I'm gonna backflip right off of it. But once we do that, the steps become a lot different because we need to go to Shadowrun Woods where the next boss is. Flip right off. Turn around to the right. And then I'm going to walk backwards a little bit, and you're going to notice Shadow Glen spawns in. So I'm going to go around the broad side of Shadow Glen here. I want to make sure you keep a healthy distance for this first bit, because it'll make it less likely for bad things to happen. And if you look up there, there's kind of 2 grass platforms that are really big. All you need to do is face one of those platforms, hold L2, run right for it. And you'll see where this puts us in a moment. So you're going to see this thing up here, jump through the wall. Boom. We're right by the boss door. So right here, make sure you select fire mode. 2 jump attacks right here, and then we're going into the boss fight. Okay, so there's 2 parts of this fight. There's the tentacles that spawn, and then there's actually damaging the jumpy monster. And so the first part is going to spawn 1 tentacle right next to us, so you can mash circle, and sometimes you'll get a free hit. Didn't get it, because Roberto was incorrectly rotated. These tentacles are actually just the worst. There we go. And so what you're going to do is, I should have an extra potion of power here. I don't know why I'm missing one. Okay, interesting. Well, why don't you give me one? This is the last potion of power we're meant to use, so. So use the potion of power after luring the jumpy monster to slam its head onto something. Like one of those jumpy fruits. Take care of the 2 tentacles. Nice, that was pretty decent. Walk back to the lava moat for the extra damage. Got the quick attack here. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3. Hold down R2, wait for the tentacles to spawn. Let it rip. That should kill all the tentacles instantly. I was a little late on that last one. That's okay. Got it, okay. So 1 more round of this. So the jumpy monster will either slam its head, or it will do the thing where it spits at you. And you can set up text box skip glitch there at the end as well. So if it spits, you just gotta wait it out. Otherwise, just kind of lurk around one of those massive jumpy fruits, and eventually it will slam its head. It's kind of an RNG portion at the end of the run, unfortunately, but usually it doesn't cost you that much time. It's kind of like the thing with Aghanim in Link to the Past. Alright, this is one of my favorite strats because of how funny it is. So normally the game expects you to go through that load zone, and it takes you back to the family farm, like right at the very start of the run, which is really far away from where we want to go. But the loading zone that we used to enter this fight is always active, even through those vines over there. So what I can do is grab that for the 0.30 gravity, walk up to the edge of this fruit, do a straightforward ledge fly off of it. You go right through the vines into the loading zone, and it lets you skip all of that, like, backtracking. It's amazing. Now, something you need to be careful of. Don't move as soon as you, like, load in, okay? You'll hit a cutscene, you'll get warped somewhere, and it sucks. So what we want to do is pivot to... I usually swap the Tor here, because we'll be needing Tor for the next bit. Is I go to sort of the very left here, and I hold up and left, and that lets me skip that cutscene that traps me in a bad area. And then we're just going to exit Shadow Glen Woods the normal way, so just follow the way I'm headed. We're going to be doing this bit as Tor, because Tor is going to get a sword upgrade for free, and we're going to want to pilot him for the first 2 phases of next boss. So we've got a little bit of running to do here, but as we head our way out, I can actually jump into this and set up low gravity because the cutscene interrupts me. Just a nice little thing you can do that makes this well, if you go for the fast strat, it makes it easier. But I'm going to show you the easy strat. So what you're going to do is head to these lily pads over here, follow the way of the frog. It's going to get really laggy over here. It's just part of the vibes. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the second frog over here. And then we're going to do a... can you just jump it? I'm going to do some science. Nope, you can't just jump it. Oh, that's going to maybe game me over too. Oh, no, okay, cool. I almost just caused really bad things to happen. Anywho, okay, so you do got to do the mega jump. Excellent, good to know. So you can probably just do it from here. So go to this platform, do a mega jump into the water. This will actually water warp you somewhere else than you might expect. Oh, that's out of... excuse me? There's a hole in the floor there? Oh, and a game over too, that's funny. No, I didn't game over, I lost the character there. So I'm going... No, I don't need to load. I just need to get a potion of revival real quick. This is an absolute disaster right now, but it's very funny. Hold on a second. Give item. Potion of revival. 1.
The important thing is you're learning. You're learning new things about the game.
Oh, wait. Why is Tor alive? What? He died. I'm so confused. Anyway, so clearly that was the wrong place. I was supposed to not do that. I usually do it off of this lily pad, so I'll just show you it for swag, but you can do it off the platform with the frog too. So right about here. This should put you in the drink over here. If that's giving you too much trouble, just cross the bridge. It's fixed. It's not a big deal. And then I go ahead and equip cloak early just so it causes less lag. Because we need to actually wear the cloak and use it for its intended feature here. So we're going to make our way in here. Getting towards the end of the run here, so hopefully we're still doing okay on time. We'll see how it goes. I can kind of speed things up as we get towards Act 4, because Act 4 is so fast.
We're at like 2:08.
Oh, we're so good. We're so good. Okay, sweet. I thought we were like 2.5. Okay, I have no perception of time. So fall into the water, go to the right. We're gonna go talk to the shady salesman. If we pay him 1,000 Neo points, he will allow us to go to the sewers. That's why we needed that last little bit of money. We've been saving that extra 1K all the way up until now. Does this file even have it? It doesn't. That's funny. What if I just gave myself 1 million? That sounds about right. Oh yeah, baby.
You nuked a lot of money at the beginning.
I mean, you could do that legitimately.
Well, as legitimate as duping is.
Alright, so we pay him, then we talk to this fella right here. We give him the guild's treasure, he lets us go into the sewers. So this is like so nostalgic for me, because this is like the El Clasico of like the old any percent route. This is like vintage strats, but like they were really, really good in all bosses. Because we're supposed to, when we did that thing where we skipped going back to the family farm, we skipped getting the grapple hook. Because of course, Zelda game has a grapple hook, right? So here's what I do. I break this with my body. I just body block it. So if you look at, so this mud pile right here, the left edge has like this crease, and then there's this crease for this next brick over here. I sort of line Tor's right ear up with this crease on the right, and then I jump and grab the ledge. And then he's gonna like re-grab half of the time, and then you can L2 pivot. And if you face the camera like this and do circle back X, you get a straight angle ledge fly right through this wall. And this will eventually put me out of bounds and allow me to like skip most of the sewers. But this is gonna be another one of those timed sections where I'm gonna walk through how I'm doing it as I'm doing it. But it's on a timer, so I gotta be pretty quick. But before I get there, I can explain exactly what you're gonna see. So that hallway over there is where I'm headed next. There's like a door at the end of it, and once I touch it, it'll cause a bunch of things to load in. So I have so basically what's gonna happen is I'm gonna run towards the door, the camera's gonna snap and like turn Tor around. And so my goal is to count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, and then stop. Just right in place. And then once I see that, there will be a piece of collision that I can land on. And then we'll go from there, okay? So I'm gonna make sure I'm using potion. You'll see him snap. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, stop. You can set up text skip here, which is funny. Get a little time save. Run up to this, touch it, and then you're gonna hopefully notice that like there's a tunnel down there that you can back off and then fall into. And then you're gonna hold forward, 1, 1,000, stop, and you're in. And so what that did is if we now turn, I believe is it left? No, it's right. I always get this wrong. If you turn right, this takes us all the way to the end of like the sewers and the ancient crypts. This skips so much of the game, I can't even begin to describe it. All right. And then we also get to do another one of my favorite strats, which, so we head through this door. There's this fight with 3 really high level enemies that's really dangerous for us right now. But I'm gonna show you like the ultimate cheese, which is you grab this ledge, you turn around, you do a ledge fly back through the door that you came through. That's all you gotta do. And then it will eventually get canceled on this back wall. Run down the hallway, and hits the end cutscene for the fight. And we get a free sword upgrade. Just like that. So you gotta be a little bit wary after you come out of this because those enemies are primed to murder. And they do a lot of damage, as you just saw. I would recommend, if you still have healing, get that out. Might not be a bad idea. Put Nova or Supernova on your sword and head into the Meridell Guild Vault, or the Meridell Vault for the boss fight. Okay, so the way that this fight works, we're going to be doing it mostly casually. We want to stay decently close to him so that we want to see him shoot those projectiles. He does like a laser beam, like that. You'll see like the thing in his core appear. And we're going to be doing X circle really fast together to try to fit in as many jump attacks each phase as possible. You get a little side swipe, not a big deal. Just means it'll take an extra cycle. And by the way, do not use your potion of power. It does not work on this boss. Why? Don't know. Yeah, so if you get all of your jump attacks in, that's a 2 cycle for this first phase. But he's playing very nice with me right now. Yeah, so 3 hits short there. Now he's in phase 2, where he's slowly losing more and more of his body. Great first attack. He can be a little annoying with the RNG sometimes too, but it's like plus or minus a few. Didn't quite get that attack. That's not the end of the world. But you gotta be very careful of these tornadoes as well. You're kind of just sort of moving him away from the tornado. So he's probably gonna laser soon. Once you do this fight enough times, you kind of get a feel for when the boss is gonna attack next, unless you're super lucky and gives you like a freebie. So we're like 1 or 2 attacks out. So just kind of using the full width of the arena here just to make sure that I can stay alive. This tornado is a little annoying. This is going to be a 3 cycle. Unport. Okay. Yeah, so damage is not really the concern here. It's mostly about making sure you get optimal cycles through here. All right, and then as soon as we deal the final hit, we're going to swap to Roberta. We're going to run over to the piles of gold. And we're going to stand on top of this one, and we're just going to snipe him from range. Watch this. He's just going to explode. So you set it up by standing on the gold pile, and then you knock him so far back that he just can't do anything about it. It's the funniest thing. He is just gone. So if you're running low on resources here, you can pick up extra health consumables. You really won't need them. But if you're like low on speed potions for whatever reason, or you forgot to do as much, you can grab a couple of freebies right here. Okay, this is a little dangerous, but I'm going to show you it anyway because it's very fast. Actually, no, I have to show you this. Okay. So this is a bit of a complicated setup. So what we're going to do is there's this ledge right here in front of us. I'm going to jump out and re-grab it for a 0.35 gravity value. Oh, I missed it. Tragedy. Okay, so the good news is I have a save file for this exact situation. Sometimes you will do that. It sucks. I'm sorry in advance. The nice thing is that this Meridell Treasure Vault file already has the boss killed, so I don't need to worry about that. So we are going to do this as Roberta because you generally want to do this one as Roberta. It's just the setup makes a bit more sense. Make sure you have a speed potion pop. That's what that should look like. Okay, you're gonna face this back wall with a big lightning bolt crack in it. L2, pivot back. You're gonna tap backwards like that. Be a little closer. Tap back so you're about that distance away from the ledge. Hold R1. Circle forward X. And you'll get this upwards ledge fly. And the cool thing about this boss arena is the y=0 plane is way above the boss arena. And you'll see why in a moment. There's all these like sewer tunnels at the end here. So what you're gonna do once this happens, hit L1 and R1 to swap characters. This will unstick your camera. So we're up here now. So that giant elevator tube, I think, is a part of the game that got cut. So if you look down there, that thing, that's the boss arena. And so you can see we're all the way up here. And so I really wish this game had a first-person mode so I could show you what I'm looking for here. But essentially, what we can do from here is if you look down there, if you look through Tor's like hitbox, there's like that black circle. That's like a shadow that's being cast as part of a visual effect, and that is the load zone to get out of the sewers and into Meridel Castle for our next boss fight. And so what I like to do is pop a potion of power, hold L2, line Tor up with it, run forward. And eventually he'll start falling. Once he starts falling, just kind of move him slightly left or right, you'll eventually hit it. You go so fast. Like, your gravity is so high there, it's a little scary. Yeah, probably not a bad idea to save before any of that. Yeah, from there, you can just exit out of here. And this is where we kind of rejoin with any percent, but we have way better gear for this next fight, so it's going to be really funny. All right, go through this door right here. It's a separate load zone for some reason. And then out this way. The setup's not too bad. We're going to do a cheese strat for the next boss. So you go up the further set of stairs, get up to about here, line yourself up with the banner that's up there, jump and grab the ledge. From here, you do circle back X for a ledge fly. Do the standard ledge fly setup. If you do this right, what this will do is it'll flip you inside of the stairwell. And so what you can do from here is once you get an idea of like where Tor's facing, make Tor move forward through the wall and jump. That should get you up here. Hold towards the window. And then you'll eventually fall in about here. Go to the left. You'll see him auto hop. Once you see that auto hop, turn around. We're going to swap to Roberto. This is the Three Sisters fight. But as you'll see, something ain't quite right. So do one attack and then maybe two. Swap to Tor. And then what you can do, which is just so funny, you can just jump slash him. So I'm gonna have to do, she's a little high HP, but you can do 3 hit combos between these two, get them down to like 0 HP, and then when we come back and activate the fight, we can basically kill them all in one single blow. It's hilarious. All right, so right here, what I'm looking for is a displacement angle ledge fly. So this is a bit different from every other ledge fly we've done. So I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Pay attention to the input display and I'll explain what I'm doing. So you see how I ledge flied at like a back right angle? That's like completely different than any of the other ledge flies we did. And that's because I'm doing the displacement angle ledge fly. So this is like the one place we really use it. So what I do is I am on the ottoman, just kind of on the right side of the ottoman. You don't want to be too far to the left while you're lining this up because you'll just fall off. You want to be about here, middle of the chair. What I'm doing is I'm doing a circle forward X ledge fly, but when I'm pressing X and the flash is going through, I'm changing my angle mid ledge fly. So watch, I'm doing circle forward, back X, like that. And that actually displaces the angle that I get sent at, which allows me to go to the right and click through the wall. And the reason why we even bother with this is imagine trying to like ledge fly off of this with like Tor's big ass or big heckin' body. It's impossible. Like you bonk on the chair a lot, it's a nightmare. See how I can't just like do it? It's really weird and awkward. So what I do here is that displacement setup. So you get right here, L2, so that you are basically parallel with the long side of the ottoman. Circle forward, back X. And you clip right through, but that one I beat the angle a little bit. Circle forward, back X. Yeah, my angle's just off. All good. Yeah, go a little bit more to the right than back right. All right. Once you're up here, you're gonna go to the right corner and fall right in. As you're making your way to the other side of the room, equip water, hover light, and then make your way to the other side. So what we're gonna do is go to the middle of the room, charge R2, and release a Frost Nova, which will hopefully stun at least one of them and make this a bit easier. Oh, I swapped to Roberta. That's tragic. That's something that's really annoying when you're doing shield cancels with both characters, is sometimes you also want to hold the run button. Oh, you're gonna stun block me too. I can't even use my freeze. Yeah, so it's not too many hits to take care of these fellows. So now we swap to light. I can probably, yeah. So swap to Nova, menu light. I might have messed up. Apologies. Do this right, they should die in 2-3 hit combos. And then there's always like a third one who's like over here and like takes forever to spawn in. He's a jerk. There he is. We're gonna swap to wind and then hover supernova just in case. It should be 1-3 hit combo for each. And where'd the other one go? Oh. Ow. Alright, swap to Roberta and then throw on like your best Nova mote that you still have. So I'll throw on super because I have some extra on this file, but otherwise just use regular Nova mote. And then we're just going to snipe these fools from range. Yeah, so I just hit her right in the face. So all these sisters are now 1 or 2 hits out. And I can just do jump attacks around the arena, and they're just gone. Easy peasy. That, since we don't get any like armor upgrades, that fight can be really dangerous. So it's really nice to be able to do that sort of strat, right? Otherwise, you can just, you know, walk manually all the way up there. All right, this one isn't necessary, but I'm just going to show it because it's cool. If you go back to like this part of the hedge maze over here, and you hold L2 and run at this corner, like that, you just kind of pass right through. And if I turn towards the waterfall, hold L2 and forward, I pop in right here. Just a nice little shortcut out of bounds. No biggie. And so now we're just going to be... Yeah, real quick, you know.
Somebody had a question. If you had killed one of the 3 sisters, would the other 2 respawn with full health?
No. You cannot kill the 3 sisters until you activate their fight because their AI is, like, whacked out. So what you have to do is you have to do the minion fight beforehand to activate their AI, which allows them to actually die. So they're essentially in a limbo state until you activate the fight. But you can still damage them, and they'll maintain their health bars. Alright, same pattern through here. We're just using our potions of miracle speed to get through here a bit faster. We do this as Roberta because we're going to be needing to do a puzzle as Roberta in a moment. But what I like to do is I actually like to navigate to light mode, because we're going to be setting up for the moat puzzle at the very end of Act 4. And light mode is the next mode I'm going to want to put on Tor's sword. Because we're going to be doing, after we do this bit, we're going to be doing like the rest of Tor. So we're almost at the end of the game, y'all. We have one more boss, and it's the final boss, the Darkest Faerie and her namesake. All right, so we're going to run off to the right. Going to power the crystals with our magic. And then the puzzle combo is always left, left, right. Left. Left. And then we hit right. And then we run to the portal, and that's the end of Act 3. And so now we're going into Act 4. Act 4 doesn't have any bosses in it. So it ends up, and because we have like some incredible skips in this game, we are just going to completely bypass Act 4. So if you think you've been spoiled by this, like by watching this tutorial at all, you haven't seen anything yet. Okay? So from here, facing forward, swap Tor. They're gonna go light mode on sword, navigate to fire, give them a speed potion. And then we're gonna head up and to the right, up the stairs. So this sled fly, these next 2 bits aren't super bad. What you're gonna do is grab the ledge, just get up on top, however you may. You're gonna face it, this wall, so the seam of this brick is in the middle of Tor's head. Single slash, turn to the side a little bit, ledge fly. This will give us a downward angle that'll cancel us on the floor out of bounds. You need to make sure you follow that setup carefully, because if you don't, you'll go up and you will crash the game. Fun fact. I have lost several runs to that, in any percent at least. So that hexagon? Yeah, that hexagon right there. Hold L2 and walk into it. That's the elevator to the final part of the game. We just skipped several hours worth of content. Yep, just like that. Easy peasy.
Easy.
It's so over. All right, so this is technically an optional strat, but I'm still, because you can just go around and hit all the buttons, and it's not like, it loses a fair bit of time, but I'm going to show you the mega jump strat for skipping this, because there is just a wall that does not have collision on it, and it's just the funniest thing. So if I go over to the right side here, This brick wall doesn't exist. So if I just do a mega jump in roughly this direction, it's really lenient. You can jump through the wall, and then as you start to fall, hold left, you land on the bridge down below, and you're good. All right, so this is the moat puzzle. You need to hit each of these colored lights switches with a weapon of that moat element. You can't use your Nova motes here. So the fast way to do this is to open the moat select menu and keep it open, and keep using R1 to move around. And then what you can do is use R2 to swing your sword while keeping the menu open, and then swap to the next moat. So it's fire, menu to air, then we menu to dark, then we menu to water, and we menu to the leaf, which is earth. Oh, I accidentally took off my Nova on my shield. Make sure you don't take off your Nova on your shield. That's a really bad any percent habit. Because in any percent, we don't have Nova on shield until the very end of the game. So if you do it fast, that's what it looks like. Ish. And we're going to go hop into here. And we're good to go. All right. Turn around after you see that cutscene. And we're going to turn around again. And we're going into the final boss. And we'll just kind of run straight forward. If you have Potion of Miracle Speed active, you kind of want to sidewind it a little bit. Because sometimes you'll just avoid the trigger to start the cutscene if you're too fast. Or just walk into it. That works too. Yeah, see what I mean? Sometimes it just won't activate. It's very funny. All right, so the way that this works is we reflect a projectile back at her and then 3 hit combos. So 1, we're gonna do this. Oh, I got the runner way too. So we do it one more time and then it'll she's being mean. So 1, 2. It's gonna auto swap me to Roberta. You stand next to her. You mash. Oh, you're mean. Oh, and all the enemies are here now. Oh, I'm dead. Oops. Thanks, game.
Rip.
That's literally not my fault. Okay, so I am going to look up. Okay, so I'm going to show you something really cool about the practice tools, which is that you can load into any level you want whenever you want. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, instead of do a save file nonsense, we're going to load area, and it goes by the hex value. So it's B. This should put us back in the boss fight. And this is a funny boss fight because it's not really like how fast you go. It's based on hits, not based on stats or damage. So you literally in any percent have the worst wand in the game and you still clobber her. It's the funniest thing. All right. Let's give that another try. Sometimes that's not ideal, but sometimes if she is mean and unlucky towards you, she'll spawn an enemy. And, oh my goodness. I'm gonna just try to take care of at least one of them, just so that I don't think she'll let me. You're being really rude to me right now. I'm just trying to commit murder real quick. Good riddance. I'm gonna turn around, face her back to her, so she's more likely to do that. So I go over to the side, mash the circle button, and that's what's supposed to happen. What ended up happening is I got hit by an enemy there, and he comboed me out of my attack, and then all those enemies spawn in and swarm and make it really hard to attack the Darkest Faerie. But other than that, the fight's really easy. That very rarely happens. So just do roughly what I did and you should be fine. The fight's not that hard. Maybe practice it 1 or 2 times. Yeah, so she just doesn't have a health bar. It's hit based, so it's just kind of like a scripted thing. I don't really think they did everything they wanted to with that fight in terms of finishing the game, but we got the game that we got, and it's still pretty good. So the funny fight to end on, very dramatic as she just evaporates. Okay, so from here you'll usually have about 1 or 2 speed potions left at the end of the route. You're just gonna pop your last one on Roberta. You're gonna run all the way into this next fade out and sort of hold backwards so that you move a little bit. So let's see this fade out. And timing for all categories ends as soon as we lose control of our character going into the next fade out. So you'll see me turn around here, head towards the Great Fairy. You see the fade out, get ready. That's time. Just like that. And that is how you run all bosses with a bunch of jank, because this game was very mean to me tonight. But hey, you know, it happens. Yeah, if any of that didn't make any sense, I totally understand. Again, this is kind of an intermediate level category. Again, feel free to reach out to me. You know, I'm happy to answer questions, you know, just like in Discord or in like YouTube comments or something like that. So just leave a message, shoot me a line, and I'd be happy to help you out. And, you know, we have a Neopets Discord as well for this game. You don't even have to run it if you want to be in there. We just have a bunch of people who like mod stuff or just hang out and talk about the game. You can find that on speedrun.com. I can find you the link for that as well if you're interested. Yeah, I just want to shout out the whole community for this game because it rules. Shout out this category because it rules, even though it's really hard. And I just want to shout out Church for letting me play more Neopets on the GDQ channel, which I don't know how I keep getting away with it, but we're here, you know? So appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for coming on. Like I said, you know, games like these they're super interesting. So it's like, they're super interesting. There's a lot of meat in them. Like, this is a huge game.
Yeah.
The speedrun is so cool, and there's so much to it. So, you know, always happy to have you on.
Yeah, please play this game. Please. Not just you, Church, because I know I've got you hooked already.
Yeah.
But those of you watching at home, if this looked at all interesting, please do yourself a favor and play this game. It's like a really underrated hidden gem on the PS2 library. Oh, I forgot to mention something else, if it's cool to shout this out. I'm actually going to be back on Hotfix later this week. I'll be on Friday for Parallel Worlds. I'll be doing a randomizer run of Pseudo Regalia. And I guess also on top of that, I'll be running that game's any percent at GDQX as well. So if you want to see more of me, check those events out. I'll be the opener for GDQX. So that's really cool, really exciting. If you want to catch my practice for that in the meantime, twitch.tv/Jaxler1. I also run this game a fair bit too, but this category burned me out because it's really hard, so. Oops. Oops.
So, I know at the beginning, I introduced this as a beginner-friendly thing, and then you kind of said it's a more intermediate thing. I do want to point out that the reason we showed this version, like this route off, was because there wasn't really a tutorial for this.
Yeah.
But the any percent, which is easier, does have one. So if you think some of the things in here are a little bit too hard, the any percent one is a little bit easier of a barrier.
It is significantly easier to do, you know, any percent. Because a lot of, like, any percent has a couple of repeat tricks. So you ended up, fundamentally, by the way that run is structured, having to practice some of the same things multiple times. So it's, the any percent route is so fun. It's really great. But yeah, also tried to show you all I tried to show some cool stuff, but I tried to keep it reasonable, right? There's like some harder strats, obviously, that you do in all bosses because this category is just the worst. Don't get me wrong, I love this category, but it's so hard and it hurts my soul.
So, one thing I did just kind of want to show off before we ended, we do have a little bit of time, and I kind of talked to you about this earlier.
Yeah.
Obviously, me doing a playthrough right now would be incredibly long, and we don't have time for that. But the dupe glitch at the beginning was relatively easy to get to.
Yeah.
And I had talked about trying it for the first time here. Did you want to run me through that again real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. So just kind of through like the early part of the game sort of thing?
Yeah, let me Discord screen share for you so
absolutely.
You can see where I'm at.
I am also kind of waiting on the credits to go, so I may just potentially direct you via words.
That seems probably one of the easier.
Awesome.
ways.
Okay.
So for anybody who's wondering, I have not played this game before up until the beginning of the show, where I followed along with Jaxler. And actually, after this, I could probably show off just how easy that first out of bounds is, because that was actually really easy. I was shocked how easy it was.
It's very fun to mess around with, I will tell you. Oh, my credits are done. Oh, sweet. I can Potential. Well, I gotta see if I have a save file, but unless you want me to just direct you from here.
I think you just direct me from here. So I just got out of the Coliseum here, and I have legit. This was 2 hours ago. I don't know
how
where to go from
many
here.
Coliseum fights did you do?
2. I have the 500 from the second fight.
And you haven't reset the console at all.
I have been sitting here for about 2 hours.
Okay, so you were doing this in the background. Okay, great.
Yes. I did this during the first 30 minutes, and then I sat here for a while.
Okay, so this is all from the same boot, right? So the thing you have to be careful with a lot of this tech stuff is like this glitch is things like saving. I don't know if it carries through saves, but rebooting the console can cause it to not work. So if you're just putting it down and practicing it, just don't do that. But okay. So let me direct you to. Can you open up the map real quick? Which is left D-pad. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So you're gonna want to head to where it says deliver package on the map. So you're gonna head south.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of just follow the road. That sort of wraps around.
So this way.
Yeah. And you can hold down the R1 button to run as well.
Yeah.
There you go. Gonna take that left. And just to confirm, you haven't talked to anything else, right? You just...
I haven't talked to anybody else.
Great, awesome. Cool.
Kind.
Okay, you see that? Okay, so that big red building right there, you see how there's that sign out front? Yeah. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna jump, hold X.
Jump, and hold X.
Walk up to the sign, press square once. Oh, you didn't get it. Okay. You might... You might have talked to somebody.
I might have. I did save right before. So
Oh, you did save right before. Okay, if you did, then we can reset it up.
Yeah, I should have a save right before the Coliseum fight.
Okay, so you have nothing. So make sure you go buy your sword.
I have nothing. Alright. Sword is presumably the sword icon.
Yeah. You're gonna keep heading that direction, turn left.
Turn left here.
Yeah. Oh, you got the blue dragon with the bowl cut to spawn in. That's great.
Alright, this is looking somewhat familiar here.
Yep. Go ahead and buy the sword.
There are legends that
And you're gonna head out, and you're gonna make a beeline for the moat and just fall right in.
Some are of the light, but others.
That is
Yeah, so you're gonna want to go to the right of those houses over there.
right of the house. Excellent.
Oh, yeah, that'll work.
Others are of the darkest kind.
Should find the moat eventually. There it is.
And then hold this, so I just
Hold
fall
L2.
off.
Nice. You got the L2 strats. Let's go. All right.
Straight ahead.
Talk to the arena lady. And you can just mash square. I wonder if you had it. I don't know if this is a thing, but I wonder if you were sitting there for so long that it unloaded the text box. All right, so just go ahead and just 3-hit combo the enemy here, or just do whatever you gotta do to kill him. Yeah. So you have not played this game at all. Okay. So
I have not played this game at all.
So if you're having trouble with the 3-hit combo, you can also do jump attacks, and that does a little bit more damage per second.
So I'm gonna be real with you. I was so focused on trying to get to this part, I missed specifically the timing for the 3-hit combo. So
you skipped the tutorial. Make sure you play through it casually as well. The tutorial is fun. All right, you're gonna do round 2.
Some are of the light.
It may be a little easier for you if you just attack and then swing. Sometimes the enemies are really good about that rapid jab attack will get blocked, so you can just kind of jump attack and eventually they'll fall over.
Others are of the darkest kind.
Oh, people are getting game audio from the intro. This is funny. I'm gonna do this title screen music real quick. I think you still managed to loop the enemy, which is very funny. Yeah, so go ahead and hit square. And then don't hit anything yet. Just let the text box read out. Square again. Hit the next one. Here's your prize kid. Hit square, then walk away. You're gonna go to the left, and you're gonna just run down the path. You're gonna follow the path all the way down. And then this path should eventually take you to that same sign. Let's hope this works. I don't know why. Like, if this doesn't work, I'm actually just going to be legitimately confused. But don't, again, when you're doing this, do not talk to anybody. It completely ruins the setup. Just keep following the yellow brick. I guess it is the yellow brick road, huh?
And I'm still holding square.
Yep. Oh, no, you don't need to hold square. Hold X. Hold X. So just jump if you need to. Hold X.
Jump and hold X.
Yep. Walk up to the side. Press square once. There it is.
There we go.
And so what you can do is you can just double tap. So you double tap square, it'll do another loop.
Okay.
So you just repeat that double tap motion, and you infinitely do money. That is how you did the GTA 5 money glitch in Neopets.
Yeah, and this was actually super easy.
Yeah.
Presumably it didn't work because I've been sitting here for 2 hours or something.
I think that might actually be why, which I did not know was a thing. So I might have to consult the people with the smarticle particles, as we like to call it in my household, the people who like reverse engineered the game. Because fun fact, this glitch was discovered by complete accident. A casual player in our Discord server, just like accidentally duped the quest reward from the spider juice potion quest. And then, Monster 860, who's another runner of ours, who also shout outs to her for just being a legend. She reverse engineered it and figured out how it worked, and then also brute forced a setup that was fast. Because the original discovery was really weird. If you're interested in how this works, like underneath the hood, Monster 860 has a great video of this on YouTube. It's a really cool watch. It gets into like how text boxes work and like escape sequences and pointers and floating point rounding error. It's a complete nightmare, but it's really cool. I tried to explain it once and failed miserably.
It sounds incredibly interesting. And so, I mean,
you gotta show him the jump. I'm not gonna make you go grab the chest. You just gotta show him the jump.
Yeah. The only problem with that is
you just go up the hill
building.
Right, that's the hill.
Okay.
The fun part about
I'm gonna be real with you.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know where to go if I don't get the chest. So
yeah. Nice.
There we go. It's like super easy. And then
now that being said, if you're having trouble with it, that doesn't make you like not a good speedrunner or a bad person or anything. It's just for someone who like has video game fluency, it is very easy.
Yeah, so I say it's super easy. I am also a speedrunner. I have the advantage of having at least 1,000. No, I have at least 2,000 hours speedrunning various games. So like,
I don't even want to think about where mine's at. It's bad.
Yeah, I'm giving like a probably a low estimate. I don't want to think about it, but I'm just like, I've got a lot of time in here. So like, if it's not easy for you, I'm definitely like somebody who's kind of used to this kind of stuff. But more or less just saying like, I've never played this game before.
So you're gonna head a little more to the right. You're a little too far to the left. Yeah. There. Oh wow, that was actually just perfect. Nope. To the left. Oh, I guess you're inbounds. Okay, that works. Head to the left down the road. You did it. You did it.
So yeah, it was relatively straightforward to do this. Again, I do have a lot of experience, so like take it with a grain of salt. But like this at least this part seems pretty straightforward. A little bit of practice, you should be able to do it. I'm not going to keep going because
you don't need to grab the rose. That's not cool.
Yeah, we're gonna. I think I've shown the little bit I wanted to show, which is that I have never played this game, and even I was able to do with a little bit of just like picking the game up and watching Jaxler, I was able to do it. So hopefully you are also able to, with a little bit of playing the game, pick this up relatively quickly.
If you and on top of that, if you learn any %, all bosses is really easy to pick up from there. Like obviously don't do like the cool strat that I did in Black Keep. That strat's really bad. But all bosses is really chill to pick up once you have like a couple runs under your belt in any percent. And that's kind of the way I would recommend learning it too. Even, you know, obviously having a full tutorial is really helpful because there are very significant route differences than any percent. But like something that you can do in the learning process is what's called chunking, where you learn in chunks and then you rest on it. So that way, like your brain does a better job of like actually compartmentalizing that information and understanding it and processing it. So that would be my advice, especially because this run can go a bit long if it's your first run. And maybe not everybody has the stamina for that, right? So,
and any percent like 40 minutes, right?
It is, well, world record is 38:17 now, which is nuts. But a lot of people have sub-hour, and it's not the worst thing to, like, you do a couple of practice runs, you work at it, you'll get sub-hour. Obviously, the lower you go, the more things you can implement, you know, you get better at movement.
Mm-hmm.
It is a pretty high skill ceiling, which you wouldn't think out of a freaking Neopets game, but this is the world we live in, everybody. All the weird games that you've never heard of have like the best, the best kept secrets in speedrunning. Just all this weird nonsense.
It's not even wrong. It's like some of the lesser known games are the best. Which is why it's always awesome to have people who run games like you, on to show off these speedrunning gems.
Yeah. Always glad to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, you know.
Yeah, and again, thank you so much for being on. With that said, do you have anything else you want to say before we close out here?
I think I'll just say follow me on Twitch, Jaxler1.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And like I said, for all the any percent stuff, I'll have that linked in like the comments or something like that, or just shoot me a DM. I'd be happy to help.
I should have that in the thing under description. There we go.
Oh, you're sick. Okay, great.
It's late. Apparently, I can't think of the.
We gotta go to bed.
Yeah,
it's
no
late.
kidding. Let's. Thank you all for watching, everybody. We'll make sure you have access to the links in the YouTube video for all of the stuff that you need. Jackson will probably be in the comments answering any questions. Have a great night, everybody.
See you, everybody.
Tomorrow we've got a Pokemon special starting at 7 p.m. It's going to be a run of Pokemon Sword and Shield and a run of Pokemon Scarlet / Violet. And then we've got Speedruns from the Crypt. All of that starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to take a quick break while we look for a raid target. If you wouldn't mind just sticking around to cheer somebody else on in some speedruns, that would be awesome. Have a great night, everybody.